Brand disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by individuals on this platform, the callers plus invited guests, are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with this brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
Don't touch that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk Radio.
Help keep the show on the air. If you want to help, you can send your donation through PayPal. The email is debatetalkforyou@gmail.com or through Cash App, $ Sal Showtime. Thanks for your support.
All right. Again, grace and peace. Let me go ahead and kick it straight off through the door because I just want to let everybody know I'm not coming on here to use extra theologian words and philosophies and fancy stuff. I'm going to talk to it the way the people know how to understand it, and that's as a human being, a regular person. And just to back up what I'm saying, to show you how I'm bringing it, Brother Phillip, could you read 1 Corinthians chapter 2?
Yes, sir. 1 Corinthians chapter 2. All right.
Yeah, and you can start at verse 1.
All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 1. And I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of God. For I determined not to know anything among you, save Jesus Christ and him crucified. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in dissemination of the Spirit and of power, that our faith should not stand in the wisdom of man, but in the power of God.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear because this is from the heart. This is not a joke. I joke sometimes, but not all the time. And when it comes to this word of God, what you see is what you get. I got one more precept I'd like everybody to listen to just to let you know the sincerity in this message that I'm bringing. Brother, would you please go to 2 Timothy? And would you please read chapter 4, verses 1 through 5?
All right. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 1 through 5. I charge ye therefore before God and the Lord Jesus Christ, whom shall judge the quick and the dead at the appearing and his kingdom. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all longsuffering and doctrine. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables, by which thou in all things endure afflictions, do the work of an Let me read that again. By which thou in all things endure afflictions, do the work of an invalid. Make full proof of ye ministry.
All right. Well, that really says enough. So everybody that understand that, whether it's in season or out of season, like if it's around Easter time, hey, it's in season. I'm going straight in on Easter because it's irritating me for one, And for two, I know it's really irritating the Most High because that has nothing to do with the Most High. That actually come out of this great whore that we about to talk about, that I'm going to make sure everybody know who she is when we get off this line. And it's ran by the man who Daniel called the little horn. And I'm going to prove that also. Not only through the scriptures, but with history to back it up. I will give you references to some of the information I'm getting. I have a fabulous book called The Four Winds of Heaven. If you got some money, go get it. If you got a friend, grab it from them. It's very much worth it. You know what I'm saying? Things like Funk and Wagnalls, Bible Dictionary, the last 2 million years, the Oxford Bible Dictionary. All of these things, the Most High has put he stashed his jewels in these type of things amongst men. But the way it works, you know, he don't just sit it out. You know, it's not just out there as far as you know, it's not going to be told to you. Put it like that. Because part of this conspiracy is to keep the people stupid. The longer you keep the people stupid, the longer that this wicked system, where they believe, the longer that this wicked system has time to flourish. So I just want to say that also. I also want to bring up something because, like he said, this is not the first time me and Brother LaRon has had a run-in. And it's one thing I know that he likes to keep bringing up. So I'm just going to go ahead and nip that in the bud right now, so it won't drag on this whole 2-3 hours that we got going. Because like I said, my goal is to prove to y'all that the Pope, I'm going to go ahead and say it, the Pope of Rome, this man who's posed to be as the holiest of holy, that's even the title of his name, is actually, whoever in that seat, actually is going to be the quote-unquote Antichrist, which is a term that I don't even like using because Antichrist is anybody that's adverse to Christ in their behavior and their beliefs. So we got a lot of Antichrists. I mean, if you ain't doing the things he told you to do in the scriptures, you an Antichrist. So I'm going to call him the abomination of desolation because that's what the scriptures call him. Okay. I would like to start at, let me see. Matter of fact, yeah, let's start this at, because I heard in one show, if I'm not mistaken, you can check the archives on the Hodgick show with Hezekiah. LaRon called in on there, and also on Sal's old show in one of his debates. I wasn't quite sure who the brother thought the prince was in Daniel chapter 9. I think it's between verses 24 or something like that. And it talks about the people of the prince that came in and destroyed, and we know that they destroyed Jerusalem in 70 A.D. And, you know, so I want to go ahead and start breaking that down right now. Hey, Brother Philip, could you go to Daniel 9, please?
Yeah. There.
Okay. And I want you to pick it up at verse. Go ahead, pick it up at verse 26.
Okay. All right. Verse 26. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself, and the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined.
Okay. All right. Now, we see here it's talking about the people of the prince. Now, if you just look at I want everybody, if you can, it's a lot of places you can go look for, but just study the siege of Jerusalem in 70 A.D. And when you look up the siege, when you research the siege of Jerusalem in 70 A.D., you will see that, you know, the Romans came and they destroyed Jerusalem. I think they crucified like 500 of our people a day, because them is our people. they crucified 500 people a day. And, they ran them all out of there. Most of them fled towards, and throughout Africa. And that was for a reason, to blend in with people that they look like. But that's another story. And, but this prince, I've heard brothers try to edify LaRon and tell him that this was actually talking about Titus, the Roman general Titus, and that the people of the prince were the Romans. Well, I'm with that because that's exactly what happened, but I want to take it a step further just so we can really end all this. Then we're going to do the 400 and something, because, I know the brother like to be stuck on this little math equation. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to deal with this the whole time. So I want to go and show who this prince actually is so that when we get through, y'all won't have a doubt. Brother, would you go to John chapter 14? And when you get there, brother, I want you to read verse 30.
John 15 and verse 30.
Oh, John 14. John 14 and 30, bro.
John 14. John 14 and verse 30.
Mm-hmm.
Hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in me.
Okay, hold on. So he said the prince of this world, right? That's what he said. Am I right, reader? You heard it clear?
That's right.
Okay.
For the prince of this world.
Okay. So look, let's go ahead and make sure we edify everybody on exactly who this is talking about. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 2. And brother, when you get there, you can start reading verse 1.
Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And you hath he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins, wherein time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
So we keep saying this prince, right? And this prince got power on this earth. Well, I'm going to show you that's because this prince actually ran the government. The prince run these governments to this day. And all of these governments to this day, these superpowers, if you want to call them, extend all the way back from their family lineages when they started in the scriptures. So this ain't nothing new. They're all backed by the true prince. And this prince is I ain't going to even tell you. I'm going to let the book tell you. I see the time getting close. Brother, why don't you go to Revelation chapter 12? And when you get there, brother, start at verse 9 and read it to start at verse 7 and read it to verse 9, please.
Revelation chapter 12 and verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought.
Keep going.
And the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Okay. Now, I just want y'all to know, since we on the time thing, when y'all get a chance, I want y'all to write down Psalms chapter 104 and read verse 4. Then write down Luke chapter 4, read verses 1, verse 3, and you can read 3 on through 6. And also go to Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, verse 9. I got a lot more precepts, but I know we on time. I might touch on them again later just in case no one will mistake who this prince is. The Titus was the man. But the prince that the Most High is referring to is a deeper prince, a darker prince, one that ruled in high places, and he ruled every government, and he ruled a religious system. So I just want to get that clear. Yeah, LaRon. Yeah, LaRon, you there? There you go.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Daniel 7:7. After this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth, and it devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse. Underline that. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Underline that. It was diverse from all the beast that was before it, and it had 10 horns, right? Okay, let's get to verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up, underline that, among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of them first horns plucked up. In other words, so you have 10, you have a beast, you have 10 horns, and then among them another horn came up, which was called the little horn. And the little horn plucks up 3 horns. Let's read it again. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, this horn were in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Okay, audience, sisters and brothers, understand this. You have a beast, and up out of the beast you have 10 horns, and afterwards you have a little horn to come up. The little horn, for those that are Bible verse, they know that the little horn, Christ, right? Okay, so we see the beast, a terrible beast. This beast is considered as the Roman Empire. Not at the time of John, because at John's time it was ruled by one emperor. Later after John's time, in the latter times, the revised Roman Empire will be ruled by 10 kings. It wasn't at John's time, but in the latter days, it will be ruled by 10 kings. And after the 10 kings, after the 10 kings come up, a little horn comes up, and the little horn plucks up 3 of the 10. Okay, so let's get that. We got that right there. So explaining that. Okay, let's get to Daniel chapter 7 and 20. 7 and 20. It says, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell. So same thing. The 10 horns, then 1 came up, and 3 fell. Even that horn that had eyes and a great mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Okay, so let's get that. We got that. Let's go to Daniel 7 and 24. All of these things are saying the thing. Bear with me. Get your notes. Get your pen. Get all of that. Open your Bibles up. Let's get into this. Daniel 7 and 24. It says, and the 10 horns out of the 10 kings, or the 10 horns out of this kingdom, are 10 kings that shall rise. So now we see Daniel getting the interpretation of this from the angel. The 10 horns are 10 kings that shall arise, right? Okay, so we see that. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 horns that shall arise. So then and another shall arise after them. So we see the 10 horns arising, and we see another one arising after. Underline after. He arises after them, and he shall be diverse from the first. He's diverse from the 10. Now watch this. Here we go. And he shall subdue 3 kings. You see that? He shall subdue 3 of the 10. If he subdues 3 of the 10, that should let you know he's a part of another kingdom. And he subdues 3, and once he subdues 3, the others submit to him. Okay, let's keep reading. Okay, Daniel chapter 8. And Daniel is going to narrow this down, and he's going to show us basically where the Antichrist is coming forth. It's simple. It's simple. It's in the book, and we're going to get to it. Daniel 8 and 8. It says, therefore, matter of fact, let's go up a little bit. Okay, it says, then I lifted up Daniel 8 and 3. It says, then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will, and he became great. Now we know the ram as Media Persia. According to chapter 7, it talks about these beasts, which I mentioned the last beast. The ram is Media Persia, and it lets you know he conquered northward, southwards. Look, it says he conquered westward and northward and southward. In other words, that's where he conquered at. Anybody who's familiar with the Media Persia empire, they should know these things. And it says, and as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. And the he-goat had a notable horn between his eyes. So you have a ram and you have a he-goat, and they both touching each other, and they're both going forth to conquer, and they both see each other in view and in sight, and they going forth to each other to ram each other. Now let's get off into verse 6. And it says, and he came to the ram and had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran into him in the fury of his power. So we have them ramming each other. We have the ram and we have the he-goat to make contact with each other, right? And it said the he-goat is Media Persia. For those that know the Bible, the he-goat is the king of Grecian. For those that know the Bible, they know that Media Persia is the ram is Media Persia, right? Okay, and it says, and I saw him. It says, and he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his might. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with plour against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. So we have the ram with the victory here. We have the king of Grecia with the victory here, and let's see what goes on in verse 8. So therefore, the he-goat waxed great. So therefore, after the victory, the he-goat waxed great, and when he was strong, watch this, the great horn was broken. In other words, when Alexander, the king, which was the first king of Grecia, when he was strong, and the great horn was broken. And for it, watch this, for it came up 4 notable ones towards the 4 winds of heaven. In other words, so we have this great horn, he's broken. Alexander the Great dies at 33. When he's broken, his kingdom is divided into the 4 winds of heaven, or what you call 4 divisions of territory of the Grecian Empire. Okay, now watch this. Let's get off into it. It says, and for it came up 4 notable ones towards the 4 winds of heaven. And verse 9, and watch this, out of one of them came forth the little horn. It means out of one of those divisions, of those 4 horns, out of those 4 horns, out of territories or divisions, came forth the little horn. And we know those divisions that Alexander was Greece, Turkey, Syria, and Egypt. 4 divisions, 4 horns. Greece, Turkey, Syria, and Greece, Turkey, Syria, and Egypt. Look it up. Okay, it says, therefore the great horn, verse 9, and out of one of them came forth the little horn, which was exceeding great, towards the south, towards the east, and towards the pleasant land. In other words, he's exceeding great in Iran, in Iraq, in Egypt, and also in Jerusalem, in the pleasant land. That's the areas that he's great in. Egypt, Iran, Iraq, and Palestine. Okay? Now watch this. And it waxed great even into the host of heaven, and cast down some of the hosts and the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Okay, now let's get off into Daniel. So we have Daniel chapter. So we have him. What we have here, we have him coming out of one of the 4 divisions of the Grecian Empire that was divided up. That was divided up among Alexander's generals, which was Egypt, Syria, Greece, and Egypt, Syria, Greece, and Egypt, Syria, Greece, and Turkey. And so let's get off into Daniel chapter chapter 9, verse 21. Same chapter, same book, no difference. We're in the same area. It's talking about where he's coming from. And it says, and the rough goat is the king of Grecian, which was Alexander, right? Now he was giving him he's getting an interpretation of this. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king, which is Alexander. And it says, now that being broken, watch this, now that Alexander being broken, whereas four stood up for it, 4 kingdoms. Alexander the Great died, and when he died, after he died, 4 divisions, which was given to his 4 generals, stood up out of his kingdom. And shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. In other words, not in Alexander's power, because his kids did not retain the throne because they was killed and murdered. Okay, let's study that also. You can look that up. It says, and watch this. Now that being broken up, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. Now watch this, 23. In the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to a full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding, dark citizens shall stand up. So in the latter times of the revived Grecian Empire, after the he-goat subdues the 3 and takes over, and once he takes over, he becomes the 8th kingdom. After in those times, the Antichrist will. That's when the Antichrist will be known as far as his. As 23 says, and in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to a full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding, dark citizens shall stand up. So he should stand up, right? Now watch this. It says 24, verse 24, and his power should be mighty, but not by his own power, and he should destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. Now watch this. Watch it, verse 25. And through his policy, or through his decree, whatever decree he has set up, also he shall cause craft to prosper. We know this is the Antichrist because he causes the beast he causes the beast of the false prophet and his image to be set up, right? And it says, and through his policy he shall cause craft to prosper, and in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and watch this, and by peace shall destroy many. Underline that. And by peace he shall destroy many. Well, how does someone destroy many by peace? Well, as you know, they have to come in with peace, a false peace, to deceive many, and once they deceive many, then that's when they unleash on them, and we will read that and show you the unleashing of that. Okay, so we have here, let's go to, we have the Antichrist, we have the little horn coming up out of the 4 divisions of Greece, coming up out of one of the 4 divisions of, we have the little horn coming up out of one of the 4 divisions of Greece, Turkey, Syria, or either Egypt. So that's what we have here so far. And let's see, let me get off into one text. Daniel basically is narrowing it down to us, showing us what's going on and what's going to happen. And we have in the verse chapter 9, I'm going to end it on this note because I only got so much time left. But for on that one, we'll get to the next scriptures and deal with it a little bit more. Thanks.
Oh, that was just beautiful, Brother LaRon, because you played right into my hands. Okay, what was good about that was he right. If you know biblical history, I don't dispute nothing he said about the you know what I'm saying, the beast with the 2 horns. One horn was short than the other. We know that was Medo-Persia. We know the one with the big horn was Alexander the Great, and we know that the split up into 4 horns was his 4 generals. He was right on all of that. That this is where he messing up at, trying to, you know, when you're trying to get stuff away from the Pope so bad, you will overlook obvious things. Well, he brought up the 10 horns that was on the head of the beast, listeners. But if y'all notice, what he didn't do was even tell you why it said 3 of them got plucked up. For one, 3 of them got plucked up means that they got knocked off or they got killed. And then you had 7 left. And if you understand that after the other 6 get knocked off, it's still one left. Now, this is why he's trying to say, well, he named the four of the regions that they ruled over, and he say out of that, it has to be a Greek. Well, I'm going to show you that not only was the Greek Empire conquered by Rome, the Greek Empire was consumed by Rome, meaning that they became a part of Rome. Now, since he brought up the 10 horns and he brought up 3 was plucked up, he failed to tell y'all who these 3 was. But if you go look in history, it will tell you who it was. Matter of fact, the first 3 horns that were plucked up by the roots are the Hurons. Go look them up. The Ostrogoths and the Vandals. These was the people that was kicking up dust in Europe. That's 3 of the horns. Now, if you look in history, it would tell you that the leader of the Hurons was sometimes looked upon as the leader of the Ostrogoths. But in truth, he was a usurper. So you got a lot of usurper going on. Now, look, it said, and was later assassinated by the real king of Ostrogoths, Theodoric II. So I'm not just going to read through stuff and say stuff. Y'all can go look exactly who it is so you will see exactly who it is today when I tell you who it is. Now, around 476 A.D., Odessa and his Hurons were the first of the 10 horns of the head of the 4th beast. Now, you know that this beast represents the Roman Empire before any of the men had died that tried to restore it. You know what I'm saying? After that tried to restore it after its fall. King Theodoric II led his Ostrogoths into Italy in 493 A.D. Into Italy after 493 A.D. and besieged the Hurons in Ravenna. Odessa surrendered and was assassinated in 493 A.D. The Hurons were never heard of again. They represented the first horn that was plucked up by the roots. So now you know that you got 9 horns left. All right, now let me give you a little bit more. The Ostrogoths, after vanquishing the Hurons, became the second foreign power to rule the Roman state in Italy. Y'all keep focusing on this Rome, where they was at, why he got you thinking they was just chilling in Greece. No, they were in hell. Now watch this. My fault for biting your word. Now watch this, but since you tell them to watch this, I want them to listen to this. Under the Ostrogoths, Italy was still one state, but a state in which 2 distinct nations lived, each with its own political organizations and its own version of Christianity. The Romans were Catholic, and the Ostrogoths were called the Arian version. While King Theodoric II was busy carving himself a spot out of the once great Roman Empire, his brother-in-law, King Gatsuric, the leader of the Vandals, conquered all of Roman, not Greek, Roman Africa, with the exception of Bovia and Cirta, which is called Constantine, another Roman. The Vandals held dominion over North Africa from Cyrenaica to the Atlantic Ocean, including the Baltic Islands, Corsica, Sardinia, port of Sicily. After both King Theodoric and the Ostrogoths and King Gatsuric of the Vandals died, their successors took over, belonging to the Arian version of Christianity. They severely persecuted the Catholics. Both nations were defeated by Justinian, who held the title of Roman Emperor of the East. Justinian waged war on the Vandals, defeated them in 533 A.D. The Vandals no longer figured as a nation in history. Now, the second horn on the head of the 4th beast has been plucked up. Now, I'm not going to keep reading all that, but I can tell you the Ostrogoths was defeated. That made 7. And then after that, the death of Justinian made it 6 horns left. After that, you had Charlemagne. These are all real people. Go look them up in world history. That he died. That made 5. After that, you had Otto the Great. You know what I'm saying? That left 4 horns. He was out of there. And then after that, you had Charles IV, and then 3 horns after that, plus this religious leader. Now, the religious leader been there for the last, 4 horns. Let me add that in there, too, so I don't confuse nobody. This religious leader actually popped on the scene after the Vandals. So, you know what I'm saying? So when you come all the way back down, I can name the people all the way down to Napoleon. Napoleon, that's what it was 2. You got down to Napoleon, then it was 2 horns left, and still this religious leader. Now, you get after that, you get down to it, and here comes the last one that was knocked off, and this was Benito Mussolini. You know the dude who ran Italy, who tried to revive the Roman Empire? Yeah, keep that in mind. He linked up with who you call the holy ruler of Rome, which is the Pope, which is the same little horn with eyes of a man and the mouth of a man. And so since he wanted to go there, I'm glad he jumped right in my field. I'm going to edify y'all on what he spoke so y'all can know exactly who it was. Now, what was it? Something else he said. Okay, so just to debunk that and knock that off so y'all won't be thinking it got to be a Grecian that raised up out of it. No, that was the entire Greek Empire was inhaled by the Roman Empire. That's why to this day it is called the Greco-Roman Empire. That's why your calendar is called a Greco-Roman calendar. It's not called a Greek calendar. It's called a Greco-Roman calendar. Because when it's all said and done, you are under the Holy Father of Rome, or this great whore that sits on 7 hills, and that's the next thing I'm going to expose. I'm going to tell y'all who this whore is, what she represents, what religious organization she represents, who is all this whore's daughters that come up out of her, so you will not have a doubt in your mind who this man is that speak like God, that act like he a God, who the world even calls the replacement of Christ or the vicar of Christ or the Pope from the papacy. So that's really all I need for now. I'm just ready for us to go and get to the meat of this thing so we can end it.
All right, guys. Once again, hopefully you guys are taking down your notes. It's Debate Talk for You Radio. You know that number, 646-716-7320. The title of this debate, for those people that just joined into the show, Where is the Antichrist? Where is the Antichrist? My special guest is Mikha'el Ben Israel versus LaRon Campbell. Once again, the number is 646-716-7320. So let's go to LaRon right now with his rebuttal. That's going to be 12 minutes. I'm going to open up his phone line, and LaRon, you can go ahead.
Okay, one thing this brother lack is a watch because his timing is off. So how can you keep time and you ain't even got a watch on? Let me show y'all something here. Number one is this. Let's get into this. It says, number one, how can the Antichrist pluck something up if he ain't came yet, if he ain't here yet? He has to pluck them up. So if he's not here yet, and then if the 10 kingdoms didn't arise by then, how can he pluck something up? He can't pluck nothing up until he get here. Are you telling me that he's been living for centuries? Come on, let's get into the scriptures. Enough talking. It says, and concerning, it says, hold on, I'm sorry, Daniel 7:24. It says, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. Now watch this. And another shall rise after them. He arises after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue the 3 kings. Now if he's a part of the system, sisters and brothers, why does he come and arise and subdue the 3 if he's a part of them? A kingdom divided cannot stand. So why would I divide or subdue 3 if they're a part of me already? That's foolishness, and that's not sound. And when I tell you that he's a Grecian, I'm not telling you that he's Greek. I'm not telling you when I say the Roman Empire is all Roman, because we know that 49% of the Roman Empire, was Italians. But the eastern part, guess what they was? The legions and divisions, guess what they was? Middle Easterns. The Italian bands, you had the Asian bands, and these, just like with Persia. The Media Persia had territory that was some of the territory of Rome. When you look at those areas, Greece today, which is modern Turkey, see, those are places of where the Arabs are at. They control that. They are the second largest in NATO. America is the first in NATO. So when I tell you a Grecian empire, I'm not saying that he's Greek. I'm telling you that he's a part of the Grecian empire or revived empire. This brother don't even know about the baths. He don't even know that the Romans that came to Israel in 70 AD, he thinking they was Romans because of they was born in Roman. No, they was Romans because they had a seal, and they observed the seal and to serve in the Roman army, but they was Middle Easterns, they was Iranian, Arabians, Syrians, and all in that area. They served in that area. And to show you that, watch this. Let me show you guys something real quick. This brother, he don't even know what's going on here. He don't even know. Daniel 9 and 26. Now watch this. Daniel 9:26. It says, and after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince, underline it, the people of the prince. Now watch this. The prince that shall come. The people of the prince came and destroyed the city, but there is a prince that shall come. Now watch this. Just because I said that the Romans came in and destroyed in 70 AD, the centurions came in, and destroyed, and 70 AD destroyed the temple, does that make them Romans? Anybody, sisters and brothers, when you get done, look it up right now, Google it. If you're at a computer, Google up the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th legions of Rome, and you will see, sisters and brothers, who the people are the descendants, the Antichrist is the descendant of what people. And when you look at it, it's going to shock you because they was Arabs, and they was Islamic, and they spoke in Aramaic in the times of Jesus, and that's what they were seeing there. A lot of Aramaics, a lot of Islamic centurions. There was of the legion of the Asian Eastern Legion. When you get time, Google it and look up the armies that came in 70 AD and destroyed the temple, and you're gonna see that they was Islamic and they was Arabs. This brother don't know what he's talking about. If I told you that they was Romans or whatever, that doesn't mean that they are Italians. It's only like, and that decreased. There was 49% of the Roman Empire that was actually Italians. Greece and Italy is not the same, bro. Greece and Rome is not the same. It's Macedonia. Macedonia is that's modern day Turkey, and it's ruled by Arabs, brother. Get it together, man, because I'm out here studying and finish this. Now watch this. It says, and after 2 weeks till the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself, and the people of the prince. The people of the prince is the Roman, the 10th legion, the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th legions that came in, which is of the eastern territory, destroyed the city of the prince that shall come. Now watch this. And the people of the prince that shall come, underline that, shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and until the end of the war are determined. To the end of the war, desolations are determined. Now watch this. And the he is a pronoun of the prince that shall come up top. Because that's what we're talking about. The he is the pronoun of the prince that shall come that's up top. And he, the Antichrist, shall confirm the covenant. Confirm what covenant? The covenant that Israel should be able to build their temple and have their land like they should. Yeah, he's going to confirm that covenant by peace. So he destroyed many, as we just read in the chapter 4 and chapter 7. Now, chapter 8. Now watch this. And he shall confirm the covenant for many for 1 week. What week is he talking about? The 70th week of Daniel. We have 3 weeks, 3 divisions that's listed in here when it starts out. 70 weeks, Daniel 9 and 24. Watch this. It says, 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for the iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Now watch this. Know therefore, verses 9 and 25. Verse 25, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem, the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks. Well, 7 weeks, the 7 weeks here consists of 49 years, right? Because we know already because the 70 weeks is 70 times 70. 77s, in other words. So we have a total of 7 weeks here. The 7 weeks is 49. 49 weeks. 7 weeks consists of 49. Now watch this. In the Garden of Commandments was during the time of Nehemiah. Because guess what Nehemiah did? He restored and he built Jerusalem. I'm not talking about the temple. I'm talking about he restored and he built Jerusalem. Ezra and Zerubbabel did the temple. Ezra came years later when the decree was open to build Jerusalem and the temple. Jerusalem and the walls in the city. And it says, now watch this. And it shall be 7 and 3 and 2 weeks. So we have a total of 7 weeks, which consists of 49 years, sisters and brothers. And then we have 2 and 2 weeks, 3
Yeah, LaRon, hold on 1 second, LaRon. I'm hearing some kind of stuff in the background. I don't know what that is. I'm hearing some kind of background feedback. But all right, so yeah, they sound good now. Go ahead, talk.
Okay, so it says, no, therefore, it says, and after 80 and 2 weeks should the Messiah be cut off. 80 and 2 weeks is 62 weeks, sisters and brothers. That's 62 weeks. That's what that is. Okay, so we have 62 weeks, and 62 weeks consist of 434 years. So then we have also 7 weeks. 7 weeks consist of 49 years. So 7 weeks of 49 and 434 is 483. So we have a total of 483 years. Okay, so it says, and after 80 and 2 weeks should the Messiah be cut off. In 62 weeks plus the 7 weeks, he's cut off in the 69 weeks. 62 plus 7 is 69. So it says, and after 80 and 2 weeks should the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince, and to the Messiah, the prince should be 7 weeks and 80 and 2 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times. And after 80 and 2 weeks should the Messiah be cut off. So he's cut off, and he can't fulfill or do the things that was determined for him to do. Verse 24, when it says 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon the holy city, to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity. He can't finish any of that because he's cut off. So because he cut off, that's where it comes in as a pause or a separation until Israel is recognized as a nation and until the last week. Now, where's the last week at? The last week is verse 27 when it says, and he should. So we have two divisions here. We have 7 weeks to build Jerusalem, and then we have also 62 weeks for the temple. We have 62 weeks. We have 62 weeks for the Messiah to be cut off, and also to be cut off. And after 62 weeks, he's cut off. And then we have the last division, which is, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. The 1 week is the last week, and that was given to John in Revelations. John has given you the last week of this age. It's spoken that these are ages and dispensations that we are dealing with. And so he should confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifices and the obligations to cease. For the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate. Wow. Now watch this. That's mighty funny. This is the same person when you get to Daniel chapter 8 when it says, yea, he magnified, chapter 8, verse 12, and says, and the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. No, 11, I'm sorry. Yea, he magnified himself even to the press of the host, and by him the daily sacrifices was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. He takes away the daily sacrifices, just as it said right here. The daily sacrifices, he should cause the daily sacrifices and the obligations to cease, sisters and brothers. So with that being said, there's more to give, and more will be given. Open up your Bibles, go review this, and with that being said, I yield.
All right, guys, once again, welcome to Debate Talk for You. Once again, this is the Lion's Den. And we're getting closer and closer to my favorite part of the show, the public Q&A. For those that are new, that's where you, the listening audience, will call in with your questions and your comments. Well, I dial in that number, 646-716-7320. Once you dial in, just press the number 1 and stand by patiently. Hopefully I get to you, let your voice be heard. You know, this is about the people out there being edified, and once again, take down your notes. And it's good to hear both sides. So when you do your research, you got both perspectives, and that's what the show is all about, Debate Talk for You. For those people that have joined into the show, the title of this debate, Where is the Antichrist? Where is the Antichrist? So now we're going into the cross-examination part of this debate. Now, the cross-examination part of this debate is for you to listen to the audience to get more answers. So once again, I ask my special guest to bring out the information out there and let each individual get their time to speak. But if you're going over 2 minutes, breaking down the answers, you're going to hear this sound. Yeah, that means you're going over 2 minutes, and it's time to move on to the next question. Once again, this is the cross-examination part of this debate, and after that, we're going to take a 7-minute intermission break, and we're going to come back with a second rebuttal. So let's get this cross-examination started. We're going to start off with Mikha'el asking questions to LaRon. Let me open up their phone lines, and this is going to be a 10-minute segment. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, I knew he was going to do exactly what I said. We already got into the Daniel, and he's trying to go into the weeks of Daniel. And then if you ever pay attention to when Daniel broke down the prophecy, he was actually, it lines up with Jeremiah. So we know that the literal 70 years, Daniel was around during that time. You know what I'm saying? So after that, when you add up the math, it's going to give you the math from the time that the temple, you know what I'm saying, is from the time that the temple was destroyed, on up, it's connected with the Messiah. Now, I had no problem with any of that, but if y'all notice what he did, he never, ever once described what the Greco-Roman means. I never once said that he had to be Roman by blood, neither, because everybody knows that the Roman Empire, every country that it rules over, they can become a part of the Roman Empire. So them was all just throw-off tactics to get to the bigger point, and that is describing who the Antichrist is. It tells you that there will be a woman or a whore that sits on 7 hills. And just to let y'all know that I'm not making nothing up, I actually got the 7 hills for y'all. Go check. You know what I'm saying? It's Coronar Hill, Viminar Hill, Esquiline Hill, Capitoline Hill, Palatine Hill, and Salion Hill, and Aventine Hill. I want y'all to go look this up, and you will see that Vatican City is the only place on earth with 7 hills around it. I named the 7 hills. Now, let me ask you this, Brother LaRon. Who will be the Antichrist, or do you believe the Antichrist came in 70 A.D.?
No, I don't believe he came in 70 A.D. And from my studies, according to what the scriptures say, the Antichrist will be he comes from the Eastern nations, from Islamic and Arabs. He comes from among them.
Okay, if he comes from an Arab country, I would like to know, how will he be able to go in a temple, a third temple that will be built? How will he get access to this temple, to go in his temple and speak blasphemous words? And where is this in the scripture?
Okay, let's go straight to it. Revelations 13, I'm sorry. It says, hold on, I'm sorry. I'll do you one better. 2 Thessalonians 5 and 7. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7, I'm sorry. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come the falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that, here it is, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. So he's going to sit in the temple of God, and that's where he sets up the abomination of desolation, when he sets up his image also, and when he takes away the sacrifices, he takes away the daily sacrifices, and also which is morning and the evening sacrifices, and he causes them to cease. and he causes the abomination of desolation to be set up and to be worshipped. He does that in 3.5 years point, at the mid-tribulation point.
Okay, so, all right, so you saying that, where's this Muslim seat of authority right now?
Because, in other words, number one is this, what you must fairly realize when we look across now, you have Turkey, you have Greece, you have Syria, and you have Egypt. These areas are all known by Islamic and Arabs. Egypt was chanting years ago, months ago, we gonna march to Jerusalem and cause many martyrs, and they was all Arabs. And a lot of days, you have Christians in Egypt, and you have they Arabics. You have a lot of Arabics, a lot of Hagarenes, and all of these guys, Palestinians, which they are Arabic. So they're very related to. And the mosque is built right beside where the temple site is going to be at, possibly, or it's going to have to be removed in order to establish the peace, or be put aside to establish a peace covenant, confirm a peace covenant for Israel to start their sacrifices back up again, because they have to be started in order for him to cease them. So something has to be started in order for him to cease them, according to the scriptures in Daniel and also Revelation chapter 11.
Okay. Well, I'll just say this. For the listening audience, nice try, though, brother. But for the listening audience, for everybody listening, if y'all notice, I gave resources for everything that I said, so you can look it up. This brother haven't gave one resource since I've been listening. He came with his own opinion, like, well, I think they're going to be Arabs. Hold on, let me finish. I got one for y'all. Go look up the Mother Church in the Oxford Dictionary, and this is what it says. The church, especially the Roman Catholic Church, this is under Mother Church, considered as the mother. The church, i.e., organized bed of Christians, of which all of the other denominations originate from, and their doctrine. Also, I want you to pull up the papal infallibility, where this man, the Pope, says he's infallible. This is one of the blasphemies he's spoken even before he get in the temple. So everything I'm telling y'all, I can bag it up. This brother ain't gave one resource, so this is kind of looking like a waste of the people's time. When you ready, brother, go on, hit me with a question.
Okay.
Oh, no, this is, hold on, it's still your time, Mikha'el. You got 10 minutes to
Oh,
ask
okay,
your question.
I'm sorry. I apologize, everybody. Okay, well, I got more then. I'm going to get it. See, this ain't about me and you no more, LaRon. This is about the truth and say so. Okay, I want everybody else also. Let me just get the people information, because this is about waking up my people and pointing out these devils and this devilish system that's trying to get you cut off. It ain't about me and this brother no more, because he doing this for entertainment, and I can bust a rap video or something if I want to do that. Okay, I got something else I want y'all to check out. It's 1.1 billion Catholics on this planet right now today. And if you notice something, I'm going to bring up that went on with some of the history I gave y'all, the scriptures in Daniel. Go back, read Revelations, and I also want you to read Jeremiah, and you will find something that's funny. To this day, every year, they have something that Europe signs, the European Economic Community signs, and it's called the Treaties of Rome. This is what actually keeps them intact right now. This is how Israel is supported with weapons to this day. The Treaties of Rome. Go look this up right now while y'all on the phone to see that everything I'm bringing you is coming from the spirit of the Most High and not hearsay and not diversionary tactics. Not only is the Treaty of Rome something that's it ain't no treaties of Islam. It ain't no treaties of Buddha, and it ain't no treaties of none of that. So if y'all really want to know who the great whore is that sits on 7 hills, I named the 7 hills for you. I gave the location of the city. I gave you the seat called the papacy. Go look up the number 666. You will see everybody that ever sat in the seat or position of Pope takes his authority and his leadership and position on this earth. They will set up something that is already called Judeo-Christianity. Judeo-Christianity will allow the people over there who call themselves Jews to allow the Pope to come in there and speak. That's it.
Oh, Mikha'el, you got more questions for the brother? Yeah, you got some more time, like 2 more minutes.
Oh, I thought I heard that wonk thing.
Yeah. You know, let's go to the next question. That's all. You know, you got another question for the brother? Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I do have a question for him. Let me ask you something, brother. You keep bringing up Islam, so I want to ask you: do you know how the Islamic religion started? Who were the founders of Islam?
Mystery Babylon.
Okay.
Mystery Babylon is a Nimrod religion. It came forth as the New World Order at the Tower of Babel. That's where all the religions came from, not the Roman Catholics, which came years and Rome adopted the Catholic religion. I mean, not the Mystery Babylon religion. They adopted it, but Mystery Babylon, the harlot, is actually the source and of all religions in the first New World Order.
Okay, well, I agree with you with Mystery Babylon because all false religions is linked with Mystery Babylon. It's actually a mix-up of Babylonian, Egyptian, ancient Sumerian, and a couple of more religious.
How you have it starting with the Catholics?
All right, guys, once again, that was the cross-examination part of this debate. So right about now, we're going to go to LaRon, who's going to ask questions to Mikha'el. And once again, after this, we're going to take a 7-minute intermission break, guys. A 7-minute intermission break. And we have more debate. We got the second rebuttal. We have the public Q&A. And then, of course, we have the final statement. So let's get into this cross-examination. Once again, that's 10 minutes for each person. Then we'll open up their phone lines. And LaRon, you're going to ask your questions. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, once again, this brother don't really know what's going on here because you could tell because he's sitting up there saying that the religions started from the Catholic or the Romans. We know Mystery Babylon was before there was even a Roman. It was back in the times of Nimrod and Babylon in the eastern area, which we know already that that it spread outwardly from Mystery Babylon is New World Order. It is a religion. Babylon, the city, is a literal city. Mystery Babylon, which is mentioned in Revelation, is actually a religion, and it was before the Roman Catholics even adopted it. The Romans adopted the religion fully, and the paganism that came with it traced back before the Romans was even on top of anything. Okay, so this was the question that I have for him because this brother went to Revelation 7 and 9. And I'm going to show you exactly what he did. He says, 17 and 9, he says, and here is the mind which have wisdom, the 7 heads which are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. This brother went and made the 7 mountains in Rome. But watch this. Let me catch him up real quick. Let me shake him up real quick. It says, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. Did you guys get that? 5 are fallen. So basically what he's telling me that the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. This brother don't know that mountains means kingdom and empire. Whenever you look at a mountain or whenever you look at kingdoms, they was built on mountains. So this brother, he don't know what's going on. Now watch this. And it says there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. Mikha'el, can you tell me which 5 have fallen?
See, the problem is, brother, you mixing up the mountain. You putting the mountains part with the kingdoms and trying to divert it off the literal 7 mountains or 7 hills that is around.
Can you tell me which 5 are fallen? I ain't looking for the problem. I'm looking for the answer of which 5 of those mountains or kingdoms have fallen.
This is what I'm trying to tell you, brother.
If they was on them hills, they should have fallen, right? Which 5 have fallen, brother?
Do you really want me to answer the question?
Yeah, let him respond. Let him respond, LaRon. Yeah.
Okay. First off, you asked about, you're trying to divert from the 7 hills. Just admit that you didn't know it was 7 hills around Jerusalem. Now, I'll answer your question. If we know that earlier you ran down Babylon, Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome. We was in agreement with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we know Babylon, that you add that's 1. I'm just going to show you something, how you can actually synonymous tie these things with the number at hand. Rome was number 7. Rome is 7. You know what I'm saying? Greece by itself is 4 because after Alexander the Great died, his 1 actually turned into 4, and it was those 4 generals. You see what I'm saying? So now you do the math right there.
Okay, let me show y'all something. This brother, you can tell he shook up. He don't really know what's going on. Let me show y'all something. It says, and here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains or kingdoms on which the woman sitteth. The harlot, mystery Babylon, has set on or has been ruled 7 kingdoms. Let's find out what these kingdoms is. It says, there are 7 kings, so the 7 kings will sit on mountains, right? 7 heads represents kingdoms and mountains and kings. And it says there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. Okay, which 5 are fallen? Now watch this. It says 1 is, in other words, this is given to John. So the angel is telling John 5 are fallen. That means John 5 fell already. Which 5 is this? Egypt. It ruled over Israel, Assyria, Babylon, Media Persia, Greece, and 1 is. So you have Egypt, Babylon, you have Egypt, Assyria, you have Babylon, you have Media Persia as the 4th, and the 5th is Grecian Empire, right? So 5 have fallen. So in John's days, he's telling him, 5 fallen already, John, and we got the 5 I just listed, Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Media Persia, and Greece. Now watch this. 1 is. In John's day, what was the 1 that was? The Roman Empire. The Roman Empire it was. Now watch this. He said 1 is and 1 is. He said 1 is and the other is not yet come. Well, what is the other? The other is the 7, which is revised empire. So you have Roman Empire as the 6th, revised as the 7. Now watch this. Watch what he say. He said the revised is under the 10 kings. Back then the Roman Empire didn't have 10 kings.
Hold on, LaRon. You got some more? You got more questions for the brother? Because time is running out. You got questions for the brother? Question.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm going to get to the questions. That's fine. He did a whole summary on this thing. Let me get mine in. And it says, and the other is not yet come. And it says, and when he cometh, he must continue a short space of time, right? So you have him continuing a short space of time. Which is that? The 7th. The 7th continues a short space of time, and then the 8th come in. Okay, now this is the question I got for you. What is the 7th and the 8th kingdom? The 7th continues for the short space of time, and the 8th come. What is those kingdoms?
Oh, that was simple, brother. It tells you in the scriptures that the 7th was, but isn't, but is the 8th. This is the revised of the Roman Empire. See, you don't even know you telling the answer,
right?
But you're trying to fight against that.
That's your answer, right?
The 7 and the 8, brother, are one and the same because the 8 is actually the revive of the 7th Empire. Is the one that it tells you that his head had a wound on it. Matter of fact, let me take you there.
Okay, that's cool.
No, I'm going to give it to you. You asked, and I'm going to give it to you. So here you go, brother. I ain't going to just come up with my own stuff like I see you like to do. Okay, the beast represents the kingdom. The 7 heads represent Gentile rulership from Babylon to Rome. The 10 horns represent the 10 nations that combine to make up the European common market. Now, when you read, it tells you that when you think of the 7 heads on the beast represent the beast and Daniel. Babylon, we know that.
Cool.
Lion,
that's 2 minutes, ain't it?
Brother, I'm making it clear for everybody.
That's 2 minutes, ain't it?
I'm time with it, brother. I'm time with it, LaRon. Stop, calm down, brother.
Okay, the 7th and the 8th. The 7th and the 8th is one and a same. Plain and simple. I answered it for you now.
Okay.
You don't like my answer?
Okay, brother. Okay, you ain't got to put the extra stuff in it, brother. Let me finish. It says, and the beast that was, and it is not, even he is the 8th, right? So he's
That's
the
wrong.
8th. Now watch it. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Hey, hold on.
It's the remix.
All right, so let me know when you're ready, man. Once again, it's Debate Talk for you guys. It's pause the time just now, and once again, we get into the intermission break right after this, guys. So I know you guys taking down your notes. It's almost public Q&A time, guys. Can't wait to hear from the people out there. All right, go ahead, LaRon. Go ahead.
Okay, and it says, hold on, and it says, and the beast that was and is not. In other words, it says, hold on, let's go to 10. It says, and the other is not yet come, which is in John's day. He's saying revised Rome has not yet come. The 10 kingdoms have not yet come. And when he comes, watch this, he must continue a short space. Why does he continue a short space? Because, like he said over in Daniel, he said the Antichrist plucks up 3 and subdues the rest of them. So he is the 8th kingdom. Now watch this. And the beast, watch this. It says, and the beast that was and is not. In other words, the beast was. The beast was in John's, he was here, but he is not in John's day. Now watch this. Even he is the 8th. So he is the 8th. Now watch this. And is of the 7. What does that mean, he's of the 7? He's of the 7 kingdoms. He's one of the 7 kingdoms, bro. And guess who he is? Revelation chapter 13. He's the revived Grecian Empire territory that will rule the rest of the nations. Now watch this. It says with the beast that the wound was healed is the Grecian Empire that should come up out of the hold on. It says, and the 8th and the 8th and is of the 7 and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as 1 hour with the beast. Now watch this. When you look at it up here, it says that he's of the 8th and
LaRon, man, you got to get the questions, my brother. Somebody bringing some feedback somewhere. Somebody needs to mute their phone. Somebody got to lower their speakers. But go ahead, though. So time is almost up. Any questions?
I'm gonna end it there.
We're now getting into the second half of this debate. Where is the Antichrist? Once again, for those people that just joined into the show, the title of this debate, where is the Antichrist? My special guest is Mikha'el Ben Israel from IOG versus LaRon Campbell. And so far, a lot of people are sending me emails right now, debatetalkforyou@gmail.com. My email is open, and I appreciate you guys being in attendance at Debate Talk for You. I see the chat room is filled up right about now. Who we got up in here? We got Loving. What's going on, Loving? That's the name right there, Loving. We got Poe L. Bear. We got the Huddle 2, X633. We got Bleedo 83. What's going on? And we got a couple people that's listed as a guest inside the chat room. If you're listed as a guest in the chat room, that means you didn't create a Blog Talk Radio profile. And when you get a chance, guys, go to blogtalkradio.com and create a profile for yourself. Create a name, and then I can read out what your name is live over the air. But I appreciate you being in attendance right now, checking out Debate Talk for You. So let's get into the second half of this debate. We're going to go to the second rebuttal part of this debate, and after that, it's going to be the public Q&A, guys. The public Q&A, we're going to hear from the people, hear what you guys got to say. And once again, the number is 646-716-7320. All you got to do is press the number 1 and stand by patiently. Hopefully, I get to as much people as possible. And let's get this thing started. So there's going to be 7 minutes for this second rebuttal. Let me open up Mikha'el's phone line. Let me set up the timer, and you can go ahead.
Yeah, okay, I'm back. Okay, well, I basically just pick up where he left off at because he brought up the beast with the scar, with the wounded head, and tried to apply that to Greece, which I don't know how he did that, being that Rome was even after Greece, so now he's saying they done dug up Greece. So, okay, I want to say I done kind of left my reader hanging, man. So, I didn't want to, that's why I said I don't want to make this about me and him, but just about the people that's listening. And I want y'all to listen to this evidence because as y'all see throughout the debate, I bring references along with the scriptures, and you can go see them and line them up yourself. I'm not just doing a lot of what I think because my wisdom ain't nothing, man. It's all about God, man. If I can't read it, or you know what I'm saying, the Holy Spirit didn't put it on me to understand it, then I don't know it. I'm nothing. I just want to let y'all know that. Okay, my reader, Philip, are you still there, Israel?
Yes, sir, I'm still here.
Yeah, man, my bad, man. We ain't used you for a minute, man. But I need you again, brother.
All right.
Okay, let's see. Being that my focus was on the Antichrist, that's what the show's supposed to be about. And the woman we know that the Antichrist is dealing with, which is the church. And he brought up that about the beast with the scarred head. But before we do that, brother, I want you to do me a favor. Could you read Revelation chapter 17 again? Revelation chapter 17, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Start at verse 15, fuck.
All right. Revelation 17 to 15.
Mm-hmm.
And he has said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sat, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire.
Keep going.
For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reign over the kings of the earth.
Okay. Now, not to lose focus, somewhere down the line they tried to throw me off track or whatever. But we see now, without a doubt, that it tells us that it's a great city that sits on nations and people. So in other words, this great city controls people and nations and tongues. So let's go look and try to find out in history and modern day who this great city is. I want y'all to pull up something called the Sovereignty of Vatican City. And I'm going to bring you some facts right now. So everything that I'm telling you, it will be relevant. It's not just theological or whatever. Okay, when you look up the Sovereignty of Vatican City, you will find out that the Vatican City in Rome is not only the strongest religious institution, it is the strongest financial banking institution also. Not only that, it's the only place on the planet Earth that is sovereign up from the ICC, which is the International Criminal Courts. They cannot be brought up on any charges with charges of crimes against humanity, bankrupting any other country or system, or anything of that nation. So they're the only place, literally, like the scripture says, that it's a city, you see what I'm saying, that control these people, nations, that sits on them. You know what I'm saying? That rules them. So I want y'all to check that out and go look that up, and you will see there is no city on earth that Brother LaRon can try to go name or find on the planet Earth. So that lets you know, if he can't find them, but the book talking about it, then somebody don't know what they're talking about, and I can go with the book. Because when the book tell me, out there and find it. Oh, I just heard the beep, Bob. Oh, I forgot that. I got 2 minutes left. Okay, I got something else. Because, see, like I said, it's just about the people. This ain't about me and LaRon. Another thing, when y'all get a chance, I want y'all to go check out, I want you to get the World Book Encyclopedia, Volume 15. And I want you to read pages 735 through 737. And it will tell you all of the scriptures call it, the daughters of this whore. And it would tell you all of the nation's religious denominations that come out of the Roman Catholic Church. Not out of Islam. Because out of Islam, you can get the Shiites and the Sunnis and a couple of more, and that's it. But it's well over about 500-600 of them. So it will name all of these for you. Just here go a few for you just to mention, just to show you how strong this great whore is and how many come up out of her. The Protestants, the Mormons, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Methodists, the Shakers, the Quakers, the Episcopalians, the Baptists, the Seventh-day Adventists, the Orthodox Baptists, the Apostolics, the AME, the Lutherans, the Molinists, the Anabaptists, whatever that is, the Calvinist states, the Presbyterians, the Christian Science, Church of Christ, Seventh-day Adventists, the COGIC churches, the Anglicans, the Mormons, the Church of Latter-day Saints, and it's too many of them to name. So with my evidence that I'm bringing, that's how I'm going to do the remainder of this show. I'm going to bring y'all evidence, I'm going to bring y'all scriptures. Y'all compare what he bring y'all and ask for his resources because he don't seem to have any. I'm going to start thinking he's just extra wise or something like that. So, this what I want y'all to do. And, if anything that I told you comes back to be an error, y'all can hit me up on my information, let me know. But trust me, I've checked it at least 2 or 3 times, everything that I'm.
All right, guys, it's Debate Talk Radio. The number is 646-716-7320. And we're going to go to LaRon right about now with his second rebuttal. And after that, guys, is the public Q&A, the moment of truth, where you let your voice be heard, you call in, and you know that number. Once again, 646-716-7320. All you got to do is press the number 1 to stand by patiently. Hopefully I get to you guys. And, we have a lot of people pressing the number 1 standing by. But feel free to press the number 1. And, we're going to get to you guys in the public Q&A. All right, so anybody that got questions, I see people that already are standing by. But if you have questions, this is your time to press the number 1 right now. And we're going to get there right after this. So let's go to LaRon right now with a second rebuttal. It's going to be 7 minutes. And let's do this right now. And let me open up this up. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead, brother.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So we have 4 Daniel chapter 8. We dealt with 4. It's Daniel chapter 8 and 9. It says, out of one of them came forth the little horn which waxed exceeding great towards the south, towards the east, and towards the pleasant land. So it says out of one of them. In other words, out of one of the 4 divisions of the Grecian Empire, and so out of one of them, the little horn comes forth, right? And okay, so we have 4 of that. We narrowed it down from 10. He comes up out of the 10 as one of the horns, making the 11th horn. He plucks up 3 of the horns, and the 3 horns that he plucked up is Egypt, Greece, and Turkey. And he comes himself up out of Syria, which I'm going to prove that to you. In other words, so we have 4 divisions narrowed down now. Okay, so since we have the 4 divisions, Daniel is going to begin to show us and key in on 2 last divisions and then narrowing it down to 1 division, showing us where the Antichrist come for. So it says, and out of one of them came forth the little horn. Out of one of what? Out of the 4 divisions, which waxed exceeding great towards the south, towards the east, and towards the pleasant land. So we notice this out of one of the divisions, he's going to wax exceeding great towards the south, which is Egypt, and towards the east, which is Iran and Iraq, and towards the pleasant land, which is Jerusalem. Okay, so let's get to Daniel chapter 10, because Daniel chapter 10 is basically going to tell us of Daniel chapter 10 and 11. Okay, let's see. Okay, it says Daniel chapter 10 verse 1. It says not that. Okay, yeah, let's go to that real quick. It says the 3rd year, verse 10. Chapter 10 verse 1. It says in the 3rd year of Cyrus, the king of Persia, the king of Persia. Now I am come. Hold on, I'm sorry. Daniel chapter 10, verse 14. Now I am come to make thee understand what should befall thy people in the latter days. For the vision is for many days. So this is a vision that is for many days. It's something that is not now or whatever, and in the latter days. That's what Daniel was given. He was given most of the stuff that was shown in Revelations. It says, and when he had spoken such great words, not that, let's go to 20. Then said he, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee, and now I will return to fight with the prince of Persia, which was an angelic being behind or canceling the Persian Empire. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia. Well, who is the prince of Grecia? The angelic being that will be released in the bottomless pit, which is in Revelation 11, and also Revelations 17, which is released from the bottomless pit, and he's an angelic being, and he cancels the man Antichrist. Now watch this. It says, I am going forth, the prince of Grecia shall come, but I will show thee which is noted in the scripture of the truth, and there is none that holdeth with me in these things but Mikha'el your prince, which is Mikha'el is also considered the prince behind Israel also too, an angelic being. It says, also, I am the first year, hold on, verse 2. It says, now will I show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia. In other words, 3 kings going to stand up in Persia after Daniel was given the vision. And the 4th shall be richer than they all. And by his riches his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up against the realm of Grecia. So he's going to stir up against the realm of Grecia. The fourth king should be richer than them all. He's going to stir up against the realm. He's going to stir up against the realm of Grecia, which is Alexander now. And says, and the mighty king shall stand up that shall rule with great dominion and do according to his will. And says, and when he shall stand up, which is the mighty king is Alexander, and when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken and shall be divided towards the four winds of heaven, and not to his own posterity. I mean, his own kids didn't even sit on the throne, didn't even get the throne. They didn't retain it. It says, nor according to his dominion which he ruled, for his kingdom shall be plucked up even for others besides those. Now watch this. It says, and the king of the south shall be strong, and one of his princes, and he shall be strong above him and have dominion, and his dominion shall be a great dominion. And then when you study history, you will know the king of the south is Egypt, which is, I believe his name is Ptolemy or something like that. So, and it says, it says, and in the end of the years they shall join themselves together, for the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north. The king of the north is I forgot how, I don't know how to say his name, is Seleucid or something, or Seleucid or something like that. So you have two kings that's been pictured here. You have two divisions now that's been. We'll go from the fourth to two divisions in chapter 11. And in these And in these two divisions, you have the king of the south and the king of the north. Now, anybody that knows in chapter 11 and chapter 12 of Daniel, we know that these two kingdoms are summarized as the king of the north and the king of the south. And we know the kings rose up from the king of the north, which is Egypt, and the king of the south, which is Syria. And these kings fought they fought in this realm, back and forth, even to the times of Maccabees, when Antiochus caused the abominations of desolations in the time of Maccabees. So then we get to the last kingdom. We get to the last kingdom of the north, which is 11 and 35. It says, and some of 11 and 36, it says, and the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall be speaking marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation, which is the 70 years, 70 weeks, should be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. So out of one of these kingdoms, out of the north kingdom, Syria, will arise the last Antichrist, and he's likened unto the king of Antiochus, for they both commit the abominations of desolations. So he's the last king which will rise, will be of dark countenance and sayings, and he's the last king that should cause the abomination of desolations, also as likened in this chapter as Antiochus. And with that being said, we can end on that note. And in the questions, I hope that I'll be able to answer some more. For the time's sake, I was only put out this, but I got a class going, and we'll get off into that during my class on Monday.
All right, guys, this is your time. You've heard both sides. Now this is your time to ask your questions. Once again, this is the public Q&A, where you, the listener audience, will call in with your questions or your comments. Either if you don't know the number is 646-716-7320. Once you dial that number, just press the number 1, and I'll add you in the conversation. This is your time to get some answers to some of the questions out here. And I see we got people already standing by right now with the questions. So let's go to the people, and let's see what they got to say. Oh, by the way, say where you're from, say your name, and, everybody has limited time to ask their questions. But, of course, if I feel like the dialogue is edifying for the masses, I may let you go on a little while longer. But, if I feel it's going to turn into an argument or something like that, then brothers might get cut off. So just be mindful of how you are, interacting with the special guests. So let's go to the people. Let's see what they got to say. 215-954. You're live on the air.
Peace. Brother James. What's good?
Hey, what's going on, Brother James?
Yeah, my question is to, well, I guess both of them, make an attempt, because I know the one brother says that the Pope is the Antichrist, and the question to the other brother is, who exactly do he believe the Antichrist is, and where is he going to come from?
We have LaRon. We got Mikha'el.
Yeah.
So, you got LaRon.
Yeah, he basically the Antichrist is he's coming from the area of Syria or Turkey in that empire, and in those areas today they are ruled by Islam and Arabs. For those who know or know anything about the governments that's over there, they're not ruled by the Pope or any of that. Like I gave you 4 divisions which he's going to come up out of, which is Turkey, Greece, Egypt, and Syria.
Okay, so you don't believe he came yet?
No, I don't. I don't actually. I can't say that he came yet. I don't know if he actually came yet because he has to be revealed after he is taken out of the way. But that's another text. But he has to be revealed after the church age. He has to come at a certain point of time, and so I don't believe he's revealed yet. I wouldn't say if he's here or not, but I'm not saying that he's been living for thousands of years. That's crazy.
And to the other brother, that believes that the Pope is, the Antichrist. Why is it that you believe that, the Pope is the Antichrist when it's been like, many popes? I thought it was going to be, is it like, a symbolic thing, or is it just,
Okay, brother, that's an excellent question, brother. Mine is going to be direct. It won't be no guessing. If I don't know the answer, I'll just straight up tell you. Well, I know it's going to be the Pope because, again, like the scriptures told us, even LaRon agreed that it was the Romans that sacked Jerusalem, and it was the Romans that actually was the last standing empire out of the major four that we named, which was Babylon, Persia, Greece, and then Rome. And even out of LaRon's own mouth, he asked me a question. Well, yeah, he asked kind of a question when he talked about the last one that was before but is not. So they let you know if it was before but is not. And then he went to where it said that this beast had a deadly wound on his head, but he didn't die. So that lets you know if the last beast had a deadly wound on his head and didn't die, then that means he will be revived. So it has to come out the Roman Empire. And the only person that has any type of authority out of the Roman revive this system, like I gave the references to go check out the treaties of Rome that they have to sign out. That is the papacy. That's the Pope. They've had their hand in everything for the longest. So, I'm more than 101% sure that I know what you're saying. You said that there's been many popes. Well, let's not put as much focus on a pope, my dear brother. I mean, as far as which pope it is, put it on the seat of the papacy, meaning that position. It has to come out of that position of the pope. If you even go look up, there's a few theories on it, but if you want to trust and believe it's not a coincidence, go look up the number 666. 3 out of the 4 numbers that come up 666 come out to be somebody from the Roman Empire or the papacy. You know what I'm saying? Even all the way back to Nero Caesar, who started, you know what I'm saying, one of the ones, the first link, the military version with the spiritual version. So I hope I was able to answer that for you. If not, brother, you can get my information and we can go over this by ourselves and break it down because I have much more stuff than I was able to bring here tonight.
Yeah, you did an excellent job, you know what I'm saying? So April 26th, you know what I'm saying? I'm going at the Gorilla Hebrew, you know what I'm saying? This brother James signing out, you know what I mean? I got the video I'm about to post up, you know what I mean, for you, brother. Debate Talk for You, I gave a lot of shout-out to them, you know what I'm saying, up at the debate, the pre-debate we had up in New York with the Israelites and Ali Muhammad. So stay tuned for that. Peace.
Oh, I'll try to check that out.
All right, no doubt, man. Looking out for that video, brother. Let me know about that video. And once again, it's Debate Talk for You. It's time to go to the people. Once again, you know that number, 646-716-7320. Let's go to the next person, 252-883. You're live in air.
Peace, Brother Sal. This is your brother Raheem Ali from New York.
Hey, I was going to get on this early.
I was going to get on this early. Peace to both LaRon and Mikha'el.
Shalom, brother. Peace.
Shalom, brother. Basically, Mikha'el did a wonderful job because, like me, he brought sound sources, citations to the table, and basically, LaRon, he basically went around, but it's a good debate. I want to ask LaRon, what does Antichrist mean?
It means to be against Christ, to be Antichrist, is not to believe in Christ.
Okay. I'm Muslim, if you didn't know or not. Muslims, by decree, when we take our Shahada, in our 6 articles of faith, one of those articles is to believe in the prophets, and one of those prophets is Yeshua ben Maryam, Saleh Wasalam, which is better known to the world as Jesus. We are not anti-Christ. So the Islamic thing that you're talking about is kind of like null and void and wrong. You also said that people in Turkey, the Arabs, they're not Arabs. They're Caucasians who converted to Islam. So right. Your whole history and what you said is basically wrong. I don't want to try to take over the debate, because that's Mikha'el's thing. But I just want you to know, Muslims, we acknowledge Yeshua or Isa, son of Mary, and that's basically it. Y'all have a good night and keep up with the debate. Peace.
Well, you can respond briefly. Go, LaRon. You can respond briefly.
Yeah, let me ask him a question real quick. I know you're a Muslim, and I know James is a Muslim too. So you wouldn't. I'm getting an echo.
Hold on. I'm hearing some feedback. Everybody lower their speakers on the computer. Lower the speakers on the computer. Maybe that'll solve the problem. Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. I know that you and James are Muslim. I'm with the guerrilla Hebrews, death to Islam. But basically, this is what I have to say. So you wouldn't believe, but you say that you're a Muslim, right? Do you know what legion came in 70 AD? What legions came in 70 AD to come into Rome?
Say that again.
I mean, what leaders came in 70 AD to come into Israel and scatter Israel?
It wasn't Islam.
Okay, for those audience, Debate Talk for You, Google it in right now. And for anybody who gets the information, please call in. Or those who are on wait, please call in. He said it wasn't Islam, so he hasn't been doing any study. And also to say that the guys in Turkey are not Islam is foolishness, because they look just like the Islams and look just like the Middle Easterns. But also, I have one more question for you. For you. It says, and to the angel of Revelations 2 and 12, it says, and to the angel of church in Pergamus. Do you know what Pergamus is?
Who?
Do you know what Pergamus is at?
No. Tell me.
Okay. Pergamus is in Turkey, and also it says, watch this, verse 13. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. When you get a chance to, Debate Talk for You audience, sisters and brothers, check that out. Even where Satan's seat is. Remember how I told y'all in the book of Daniel, I told y'all that he comes from the Grecian Empire, one of the portions from the Grecian Empire, and he's going to come from where his seat is at, and where he's going to kick something off at. And so to say that Turkey and what's called not controlled by Arabs, and you say that Europeans just because they skin is what's called is foolishness, because we know whenever you go and you go have sex with a young lady, Caucasian, that child will be considered of what that person is, what the male is, right? So just because that child, you have a descendant of white Caucasian Arabs or white of Europeans, if somebody going to have sex with them, they are male going to have sex with that person is considered an Arab, and so if that person continues to have sex with with Caucasians, you have a nation of white Caucasian Arabs, and that's how it is, brother.
Raheem, you can respond. I'm hearing some feedback, but hopefully it clears up. Go ahead, Raheem. Go ahead. You can respond.
It's not for me. Basically, bro, LaRon, you don't know what Arabs are. I mean, like I said, I don't even want to go deep into it because I can, but they're not Arabs. They're Caucasian converts. Okay? One minute you call them Islamics, and then the next minute you call them Arabs. Let me read something from your Bible. It says Acts chapter 2, verse 11. It says, Greeks and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of God. In Aramaic, that would be Allah. In Arabic, it would be Allah. So if the Bible is saying that they speak the wonderful works of God or Allah or Allah or Allahi, how do you come up with that they are Antichrist? And I just explained to you that we believe in Antichrist. We believe in Christ, but you just said what the Antichrist is, someone who don't believe in Christ. We do. That's what, you can't be a Muslim unless you believe in the Son of Mary.
All right. Yeah, let me let Mikha'el jump in. Go ahead, Mikha'el. You can jump in right now.
Well, I was going to let them just chill, continue to, because I know what the brother Raheem's saying. I'm not going to sit here and act as though, I used to be, claim Moorish science, Moorish American back when I was, growing up or whatever. So I know that Isa is spoken of as a great prophet in Islam. Well, I have our differences in our beliefs too. I've debated Muslims. But to say that Islam is going to be where the Antichrist comes out of is really straight debauchery because, for one, like the brother said, I noticed he kept saying that, but it was just too much going on at once. I was trying to stay focused. Everybody knows that the Turks are what we would call European Gentiles. They just converted to Islam under the Ottoman Empire. So they are not Arabs. Just because you have Arabic-speaking Europeans, does not make them Arabs. They're not Ishmael. They do not come from the seed of Ishmael. So that's just, that's a desperate attempt by the Vatican believing people to divert their attention off the papacy. That's all that is. So, but I'll let y'all two continue. I just want to throw that in there because he kept saying that, but I was just trying to focus on Rome. So I apologize if y'all think I didn't catch it. Go ahead.
All right, well, we got some more calls. We got to get to more people. We got people standing by. So once again, you know that number, guys, 646-716-7320. Hopefully you guys are taking down your notes because that's what it's all about. They hear both sides of the spectrum and taking down your notes. So when you get some time, so you can do your own independent research, and hopefully the information that was put out there by these two special guests was edifying for you guys. And, call in with your questions and your comments. This is your time, guys. We got more people standing by, though, so let's go to the people. Let's see what they got to say. Let's go to 312-469. You're live on air.
Hey, grace and peace in Jesus' name, everybody. This is Brother Isaac K. Fingers with IOG.
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Brother?
Shalom.
Hey, what's up, Mikha'el? What's going on, Brother LaRon? Hey, first of all...
Shalom, bro.
Shalom, bro. First of all, Brother LaRon, I don't know why you just made that statement about Islam. First of all, we all know Islam was not, didn't come into existence until 300 A.D. But you said they came in 70 A.D. to destroy Jerusalem. Now, the Arabs weren't there. All of this stuff was the Romans, like Brother Mikha'el is saying. Now, let's go to what I originally wanted to talk about. When you got to talking about Daniel and the four beasts, you kept referring to the third beast as being where the Antichrist is going to come up out of. But you got to go back to to Daniel 2 and read the whole entire dream that Nebuchadnezzar had. There were four beasts altogether. So now my question is, if Greece is where the Antichrist is coming from, who is the fourth beast?
Well, I referred to the fourth beast as having 10 horns, and I referred also to the Antichrist coming. Daniel referred also to the Antichrist coming up out of the Grecian Empire, which is the fourth beast, which is the leopard with four heads, meaning that the four divisions of the Grecian Empire. Daniel referred to him coming up out of one of them and coming up coming up after the beast with 10 horns and subduing the 3 horns of the 10. It's dealing with territory. And then when you dealing with...
but in chapter 7, let's go to chapter 7. When you read chapter 7, verse 2, he speaks to the four winds of heaven. In verse 4, he speaks of the lion. We know the lion being Babylon. In verse 5, he speaks of the bear being the Medo-Persian Empire. In verse 6, he speaks of the leopard being Greece. In verse 7, he says the fourth beast, but he does not refer that to Greece. We know, like Brother Mikha'el said, we know that Alexander the Great, when he died, his kingdom was split up into 4 kingdoms. Out of one of them kingdoms, and that's something else I wanted to add to you, too. That's where the Roman Empire came from. I think where you're also erring at is when you're trying to include Egypt.
Hold up, you said out of one of those kingdoms, right?
There ain't even neither one.
Right, but you keep trying to include Egypt as far as ruling over Israel. The Hamites, if you go back to Genesis, no, it's not one of the kingdoms, because remember, in Daniel 2, the dream was about Nebuchadnezzar and his people. Those are Gentiles. Hamites are Egyptians. The Egyptians have nothing to do with that dream. So the fourth kingdom came from the Roman Empire. And if you look
Hamites are Gentiles also, brother.
Oh, boy.
No, Hamites are not Gentiles, dude. No, they're not. Let's go to Genesis 10. Read Genesis 10. That's all you got to do. The Lord splits it up right there in Genesis 10. The first 5, he talks about the Gentiles. Then in the next one, verse 6, he starts talking about the Hamites. They're 2 different people. And also, I can't remember, Mikha'el, you could probably remember because I've been trying to find it. But the Lord also says, do not measure the temple courtyard until the fulfillment of the Gentiles come in full. Now, if the Gentiles come, their whole rulership has not completed. Because once it does, that's when the Lord is coming back.
That's not what the scripture said, brother. That's not what the scripture said at all.
Well, like I said, I don't have it in front of me. I'm trying to look for it. But what I'm saying is the four beasts that you're talking about, you included Egypt, but again, Hamites are not Gentiles.
Hold on, brother. This is where I got this from. Let me show you something real quick so you can understand. Daniel mentions 4 beasts. That's what 4 kingdoms. That's what Daniel mentions, right? John takes it and John mentions the full of the 4. He mentions the full of the times of the Gentiles, which actually started with Egypt. Okay, let's go to this real quick. It says, I want to ask you this question so you can understand. It says, and here is the mind of which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains.
Where are you reading from?
Revelation 17 and 9. It says, and here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, right? And it says, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. Now, this is in the day of John, right? Right? Would you agree with that? John is giving this revelation, right?
This is in the day of John, right?
Yeah, so watch this. Watch what he says. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. Do you know the 5 that are fallen?
All right, brother. I heard this whole thing when you were talking with Mikha'el.
Okay, hold on, brother.
I heard that whole
5
thing.
That are fallen?
The whole thing. I understand what Mikha'el talking about. We right back to the beginning of what you.
Can you give me?
You right back to the beginning of where you was at. My question to you, brother, was who is the 4th beast? Because you can't include Egypt because Egypt were Hamites. They were not Gentiles.
And that's another question.
So who is the 4th beast if you're saying that the Antichrist is coming from Greece? Who is the 4th beast?
The 4th beast is the Grecian is the Roman Empire. We know that the 4th beast is the Roman Empire with not revised, because revised doesn't come until later on. Because in John's day there was no 10 kings. There was just an emperor that ruled from Rome, right?
So what you're saying is,
I'm telling you.
So what you're saying is when Nebuchadnezzar had the dream, all right. And Daniel told him the dream. It was all about the Gentiles dynasty, not the Hamites, not Israel, not nobody else. When he told him them 4 beasts, what you're basically saying is the Antichrist.
So are you telling me the Persians are Gentiles, brother?
Yes, sir. So were the Babylonians.
Are you telling me the Babylonians?
The Babylonians, the Medo-Persians, they are not Arabs. That is one of the biggest follies Just like we also know the original, just like we know the original Egyptians are not the Egyptians that's there now, correct?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, yeah, they are what you call. They rooted and really rooted.
So when the Lord gave not Belshazzar, Nebuchadnezzar his dream about his lineage, had nothing to do with Arabs. It was all about Gentiles.
Hold on, brother. Are you telling me that Nebuchadnezzar, that ruled from Iraq, from Babylon, are you telling me that he was a Caucasian?
He was a Gentile. Go into Genesis 10.
Okay.
And he tells you the Isle of the Gentiles. He talks about. He doesn't say that the Arabs. He said they are Gentiles. We are the ones that sit up and say Arabs.
Okay,
let me ask you a question.
Do you know what Arabs consist of? Iranians, Pakistanis, Iraqs, and basically those of the Middle East that went forth to conquest. Okay, let me ask you a question. This is a question I got for you, because you sliding past this question, but you're not answering it. Okay, I asked you, and I'm going to ask you again. Okay, it says, now watch this, I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask you something different this time. It says, the beast that thou sawest was and is not. This is what I'm getting you to, this is what I'm getting. He's talking to Daniel. So he's telling Daniel, the beast was, John, but the beast is not in your day. Now watch this. And she'll ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. What does that mean to you?
Or what the book says.
Let's what the book say, brother. What do you get from that? The beast that thou sawest was and is not. Remember, he talking to John. And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. What do you get from that?
What I get from that is something that another brother had asked the question. The second guy, he said, "How can the king, which is the Pope, because we believe it's the Pope, exist then and exist now? It's about the lineage. It has nothing to do with an individual. The last Pope will be the son of perdition that will come out and be exposed to the world. But all of this has been going on through all of the popes. Mussolini in World War II was the one who reinstated the Pope, and that's why we got him back. From Italy, from Rome, from the Seven Hills, from the Vatican."
All right, my brother. We got more callers, my brother. But Mikha'el, I'm going to let you respond real quick. Once again, though, the number is 646-716-7320. Go ahead, Mikha'el. You can respond.
Yeah, the brother was, your grace and peace, bro. The brother, you was referring to, when you asked about the temple, that was Revelations chapter 11, where it say, and there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, and the altar and them that worship therein. And verse 2 say, but the court which is without the temple leave out. And it say, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread underfoot 40 and 2 months. Another thing you asked, the brother brought up, I want to throw it out there because I remember these dates. That was 638 AD, where the Arabs took over Egypt. And I also want to throw in, it was also the Vatican, the Catholics, who started the dogma that's called, if you're not a Jew, you're a Gentile. That's literally where it came from, because biblically you can be all type of things other than a non-Jew. You can be an Ishmaelite, you can be a Hamite. You know, they created that doctrine. So, no, that's not scriptural at all. So I just want to throw that out there, because we got a lot of Israelites that believe that also, that the Gentiles were a number of people, even Israelites who acted like Gentiles, but that's for another story. But, yeah, I just want to throw that in there because the brother asked for the scripture, but y'all can go ahead.
All right, guys. Once again, this is your time to get your answers, guys. You know that number, 646-716-7320. I see people pressing the number 1 multiple times. If you press the number 1 more than once and you try to press it again, it's going to bring you at the very bottom of the switchboard. So if you press it one time, stand by patiently. Hopefully I get to you, because we had a lot of people standing by with some calls. And, but if you keep on pressing number 1 or multiple times, it's going to bring you back all the way at the bottom the switchboard. So just press it one time and stand by. Let's go to the people. Let's see what they got to say. We got some more callers. 408-641. You're live on the Bay Talk View. And lower your speaker. I'm hearing the echo.
You're already hearing the echo. This is Razikiel.
Yeah.
How's that?
What's going on?
Hey, I was going to ask both LaRon and Mikha'el, I might have missed it, is who is the woman that they speak of in Revelation 17?
Go ahead, brother.
If you want to answer it first, you go ahead, LaRon.
Yeah, what I have the woman as being a religious system, basically, as being Mystery Babylon, which is the root of religion, or the first NWO New World Order, which was at the Tower of Babel, which was a religion that was spread into all the world, and they retained it in their own languages and began to build pyramids all over the world. And that's what I have. Mystery. It's a religion. It's a mystery. It's Mystery Babylon because it's a religious system, and the religious system also has a literal city. So that's what I have it as.
All right, Mikha'el.
Oh, okay. Excellent question, brother. Because I was actually gonna. That was one thing I was gonna say when I got another chance. I was gonna exactly identify who she is. The brother is right when he said it's Mystery Babylon, but the reason it's called Mystery Babylon is because it's not a specific location no more. The old Babylon used to be Iraq, if we know our history. Right, but now it's not Iraq. It's Mystery Babylon because...
Hold on, Ezekiel, lower your speaker, brother. Lower your speaker, brother. I'm hearing it.
How's that?
I get Mikha'el.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, so Mystery Babylon is a system. It is a religious system of false doctrine. So I can tell you, we might as well go to this question.
Yeah, I still hear that echo. Bring it all the way down. All the way down, brother.
I'm going to hang on up and listen. Thanks a lot.
All right, cool. No problem, my brother. No problem.
Okay, so here, listen. So let me say it for you. Revelation chapter 7, verse 1 through 4, and it says, it tells you that, verse 1, it says, and there came one of the 7 angels that had 7 veils, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. I read that earlier. Verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk, but not with her, have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit of the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. Now, if you break that down, it told you that the world is drunk off her wine. And if you go in another scripture, it tells you that the people are drunk and they stagger, but not with strong drink. So evidently this is not talking literal. It's talking about lies. She got everybody drunk with lies and false doctrine and false religion. Therefore, it is the largest religious lying institute on earth, and that is the Catholic Church. The word Catholic literally means universe. So this is the church of the universe, and she is the whore, the hoe.
All right, LaRon, you want to respond real quick, and then
I think a lot of people, they basically miss the scripture or the chapter when you're dealing with Zechariah chapter 5. Zechariah is chapter 5 deals with Mystery Babylon also too, and it deals with the latter day when Iraq will be rebuilt again, and it will be a commerce center will be rebuilt again, and it will be a commerce center, and all trade, the New World Order, or the Tower of Babel, which was the trading system, a New World Order system, all trade will come from there. Many will trade from there. And also, it will be destroyed also. But I want to show something just real quick so you guys can just read this for yourselves and look at it. It says, Zechariah 5 and 8, it says, and he said, Zechariah 5 and 6, and it says, I said, what is it? And he said, this is an ephod that goes forth. He said, moreover, this is the resemblance throughout all the earth. And behold, there was lifted up a talent, a lid. And watch this. and this is a woman that sitteth in the midst of the ephah. Now we know that the ephah is a measurement, or either a jar, or either something of a measurement of something of wheat or something like that. But we know that the mystery Babylon sits in the midst of this ephod, of this jar, and over it was a lid over it. It says, and behold, there was a lifted up a talent of lid. Now watch this, verse 8. It says, and he said, this is wickedness, and he cast it into the midst of the ephod. In other words, the wickedness of mystery Babylon pushed up the lid of the jar, and the angel or the person who was carrying pushed it back down. So what's called. But watch where they took this. Watch where they took the mystery Babylon to. Watch this. It says, verse 11. It says, and he said unto me, he says, then said I, verse 10. Then said I to the angel that talked with me, rather do they bear the ephod. And he said unto me, to build it an house. Watch this. In the land of Shinar, and it shall be established and set there upon her own base. So in the latter days, this mystery Babylon religion will be taken back to the home of where it came from in the first place, because that's where it was rooted and that's where it came from. And the angel of the Lord is saying these things in this chapter. So get off in that verse, you guys. Get off into that verse and you will see that.
All right, Mikha'el, you can respond, or we got to move on to the next person. Go ahead, you can respond.
What exactly was the question again?
Oh, no, you just, if you want to rebuttal after him or not, we can move on to the next person. It's up to you.
Oh, I mean, no, not really. This for the people right now. So I'm answering the people question. I think my job has been done here so far.
All right, so let's go to the next person. Once again, it's your time, guys. It's your time. This is the public Q&A where you, the listening audience, call in with your questions and your comments. I see we have a few more people pressing at number 1, but we got more room for more questions and comments. So you know that number, 646-716-7320. Let's press number 1, and I'll get to you. Once again, it's press it one time. I see people pressing it multiple times, and it's all it's going to do is bring you at the bottom of the switchboard. I'll take you totally off the switchboard. So, just press it one time, and that's about it. Let's go to the next person. 215-954. You're live on the Big Talk for You.
Yeah, this brother James. I'm going to be real quick because I know other people want to get on. Now, the brother, what's the brother that's trying to say that the Muslims are the Antichrist? What's his brother's name?
LaRon, brother.
LaRon, are you crazy? Are you crazy? Are you comparing first of all, you are historically inaccurate. From the 70 AD, you're saying that the Muslims, the Prophet Muhammad didn't come to 570 AD.
I didn't say Muslims, brother. I said the Arabs. It was an Eastern takeover. That's what I mean. I'm referring to them because in the times we will call them Muslims, but I mean Arabs. Brother.
Right. What is an Arab? What is an Arab?
Say what?
What is an Arab?
A mixture of Eastern nations.
You're inaccurate once again. You know what I'm saying? But even from a historical standpoint, the Antichrist has absolutely nothing to do with European colonialism. Columbus, you know what I'm saying? Columbus forcing Christianity on the indigenous people on the planet, burning them alive. Antichrist ain't got absolutely nothing to do with that. The Antichrist ain't got absolutely nothing to do with this globalized system that we live under today. He has absolutely, because that's what you're saying, because Islam has nothing to do with that.
Islam has a lot to do with it.
You're trying to separate.
Why is your mosque on the temple site?
You say what?
Why is your mosque even in Israel on the temple site? It shouldn't even be there. That's an abomination of desolation right there, brother.
Oh, okay. We could get into a whole dialogue on that, but I'm just keeping.
You're gonna get dealt with by the guerrilla Hebrews. So I ain't worried about it. That's Islam.
Oh, all right. Hey, whatever. That's what you say.
Oh man, put it out there.
But the question still remains. But the question to you is that you seem to be overlooking a whole lot of things. You know what I'm saying? To try to pinpoint it to Islam today, where you have a group of people around the world praying at a specific time to God. That's the Antichrist, and the Antichrist is totally not the Catholic Church who molests boys. You know know what I'm saying, went around the world colonizing people, cloaked them under a system of white supremacy, and destroyed them as a people, their nation, their nationality, and who they were. It had absolutely nothing to do with the Antichrist.
Are you familiar with Mystery Babylon? Are you familiar with that under Nimrod, under the priest he had, he had them to subscribe their happiness and their secrets to the priest that he had? Are you familiar with the order of Nimrod?
Yeah, I have some knowledge on that.
Okay, if you're familiar with that, then you would know that they only doing the same thing that the latter-day Gentiles is doing. All of them did the same thing. Ain't none of them better. They all did the same thing. They all got the same common goal. So don't let it fool you just because of color.
The fact remains that this is why I'm just saying, this is why everybody agree with the brother you're debating and not you. Because he pinpointed, it makes perfect sense why the Pope would be the Antichrist, even if it's not true. You know what I'm saying? He has a way better argument than you, without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, so what was the reason?
Because you know why? You know why? I'm going to tell you like this, right? You know why he got a better argument than you? Because he could show prophecy, and show that shit playing out in history. Pardon my language. And show it playing out in history.
You got to keep it clean out here, brother. You got to keep it clean, man.
Yeah.
All right, but Mikha'el, Mikha'el, you can respond real quick. Go ahead.
Well, I like to just say, all glory to the Most High God. I take none of the glory, because the truth of the matter is, it's really heartaching that we all have access to this same information, yet everybody don't choose to see it the same way. So, don't get me wrong. Like I said, all these major religions have their part that they played, in the evils of the world, so forth. But to try to take the literal prophecy of who this cat is, that all I can say is I was called on. I brought my piece. All glory to the Most High God, and LaRon making his argument. But I'm just wondering, how is it that the only religious institution on the planet Earth that is sovereign from any crimes against humanity, even if Islam pull it, if the Saudi princes pull it, they got to deal with the world, or it's going to be a war. If the Vatican does it, nothing happens, because everybody got their piece in the pot that the Vatican controls to some degree. I'm not saying there ain't people out there that don't hate Catholics, you know what I'm saying? But they got to deal with them. They got to deal with Papa. So I just don't see how everybody don't see that. That's honestly, that's all I'm saying. How anybody can't see that, I don't know. It behooves me, but hey, I'm just doing my job as a lion, man. I'm coming from Judah, and I'm in a lion's den.
All right, no doubt, my brother, no doubt. Once again, it's Debate Talk. All right, you know that number, 646-716-7320. And for those people, I see more and more people calling into the show, even now. The title of this debate, Where is the Antichrist? Where is the Antichrist? My special guest is Mikha'el Ben Israel versus LaRon Campbell. And, I got to apologize to the kids out there for the foul language. Sal Showtime love the kids. And I apologize to the parents out there. You try to keep it clean out here. Wish I had a little beat button right there, to beat the cursing and everything, man. Well, we got to go to the next person, though. Brother James, man, come on, man. You know better than that, man. You're going to be in the Lions Den soon, brother, so keep it professional, brother. Let's go to the next person, though. 870-755. You're live on Debate Talk for you.
Peace, everybody. How you doing? Carl Abbott, Israel, Dr. CEO.
What's going on, Carl?
What's up, Carl?
Peace, everybody. I don't really know where to start. LaRon, you was over your head. I done told you about that myself. You was over your head. Outside of that, I got a couple key questions. And I'm going to keep it real simple. The advertisement says the Israel of God in a couple places. I just want to know if the brother Mikha'el is here representing the Israel of God for us the class, or just the people in general?
No, brother, it's no secret that I'm a member, Carl, of the Israel of God. That's in my bio. That's it. All you got to do is go back and read the bio, and I told the truth about it. It even got former gang member on there, so I ain't representing no gang. I ain't representing the IOG, although that is my family, and that's who taught me. So that's all. It's just part of the bio like everything else is say on there. So, no, I get off into my own little, studying or whatever, But, hey, the IOG tell us to study everything anyway, so I don't see the problem with it being on there. Plus, I talked to my elders and them. They knew I was coming on here, so it's cool.
All right, I just wanted to make sure I understood the advertisement.
All right, I got a question. I got a question for you, Carl.
Shoot it.
Carl, maybe you can answer it since Mikha'el came and everybody else. What legions was used to come up against Jerusalem in 70 AD?
It was Titus, a Roman general. His
But,
father, Asia, was going to be the ruler at the time, so he sent his son to go in and finish the job. So Titus.
They had, legions. We know Titus was what's called, but Titus had legions.
Yeah, no matter who he used, that's like saying who killed the person, they used a certain type of gun, but the person pulling the trigger is the actual one that kills the person and goes to jail, not the gun. So
okay, let me show you guys something. Let me show y'all something so y'all can understand this. All right, let's deal with this real quick.
Titus, well, at the end of the day, look, LaRon, it's simple. It's simple as this, because I don't really want to be on here long. It's simple as this. If you use mercenaries to go in and do your job, or use somebody else to go in and do your job, they still did the job for you. It was your job.
Okay,
so at the end of the day, that's just how military work. So whether if you want to say he used anybody outside of his personal army or personal guard, that's going into history.
We're dealing with when it says the people of the prince, though. When it says the people of the prince, that's why it says the people of the prince, because they the ones who was used to actually attack the city.
Yeah, but the Prince of Peace is over all princes and all kings, this, that, and the other. And if it weren't for him giving the green light to any, as he told Pontius Pilate, he said nobody can have power to do nothing if it weren't given to them from heaven. So what Titus did, what those people did, destroying the city and all of that, was of God anyway. That's how he stopped animal sacrifice.
Okay, well, let me read something.
Jesus died, the veil of the temple rent, and the people still didn't stop committing sacrifices. Even Paul had to take a oath and go in there and get that that oath off of them brothers, and they committed a sacrifice. So to take out the sacrificing and the Levites, he took out the temple and he took out the Levites.
Okay, brother. All right, brother Carl, you going all the way in left field, man. Let me read something. You ain't got. Let me read this to the audience, man. You going all the way in left field. Hold on for a minute. I got to get this to the audience before we get out of here. All right, this is very vital. It says, now let's look at the Eastern legions of the Roman Empire. It says, now let's look at the specific legions that were used to attack the Jewish people, as well as the regions where they were stationed during the time period leading up to 70 AD. It says, when Jerusalem was destroyed, of the 6 legions, only one was garrisoned just outside of Middle East, this being Legion 5, Macedonian. The remaining 5 legions were all stationed in the Middle East. Below is the list of the legions, and they were what's called. Let me get into this real quick. And it says Macedonian, which is Georgia or Moesia, and it says Frantisis, which is Syria. Then you had another Syrian legion. Then you had an Asia Minor Syrian legion. Then you had an Egypt legion. Then a Syrian legion. Now watch this. It says all of these legions would have consisted of majority of Eastern soldiers, Arabs, Syrians, Egyptians. Even Legion 5 Macedonian, although possibly stationed in Moesia or modern-day Serbia and Bulgaria, also would have consisted of majority of Eastern soldiers. By 70 AD, not only the Eastern provincial legions, but literally the entire army had come to dominated by provincials. During that whole time, you have a legions of not Italian bands, but Eastern bands, and that's why it says the people of the prince that shall come, because the people was his people. He descended from them, and those people that destroyed the city of them legions was all Arabs, Syrians, and Syrians, and different of that nature. You can look it up.
I got a question now. I ain't had no question at first, but since you went there, I got a question. Number one, the prince is talking about Jesus anyway. It's talking about the Messiah there. I think both of y'all was kind of off on that, but I ain't here to argue that. Now, was Rome not ruling at the time? If Rome was ruling and they was ruling the world, the known world at that time, tell me who won a part of the Roman Empire and who was not working for Rome. So no matter what country they used to do their dirt, once again, no matter what country they used to do their dirt, they were still up under their thumb and stuff. But you talking about now at the end of the day is just like you trying to insert Antiochus Epiphanes in there after, you know what I'm saying, the four generals, this, that, and the other. Then Antiochus came up, and he did some stuff over there in the temple. But at the end of the day, he was not part of the fourth beast. At the end of the day, the Antichrist had to come in the fourth beast. Jesus was around when Rome was in power. So at the end of the day, the Antichrist come after Jesus. So at the end of the day, he has to come out of the Roman Empire. He don't come out of the Greek Empire.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Is not there an angelic being behind this, the Grecian Empire?
I mean, the angelic being is behind them all. No one can move.
Let me ask you a question. Hold on. You answer. So is not he being released? Would not he be released from the bottomless pit?
Yeah, but that's still during the time of the
so would not he revive the territory of the Grecian Empire that he once ruled over?
The brother just told you the Greco-Roman Empire. If you go read Daniel, it said at the bottom of the image, the miry clay and the iron, they didn't mix, but they mingled together. That's why you got Greco-Roman, because they mingle together, but they don't stick together like it says there. So at the end of the day, the Greeks is still there. The Romans still deal with the Greek philosophers, this, that, and other. They got Greek busts, this, that, and the other, but yet it's still we under the Rome.
Everybody was Hellenized to the Greek ways after the Medo-Persian. Yeah, I agree with that. But what I'm telling you is that Daniel sits there and tell you that he's telling you that the Antichrist, number one, what he consists of as a being, he consists of an angelic being that's released up out of the bottomless pits that resurrects, that revives the Grecian Empire.
So the Antichrist is a physical being in the form of the Pope, as the brother said. That seat been sitting around a long time. He say the Vicar of Christ. He said he can forgive you of sins. He said he has authority on the earth, and Jesus had authority in heaven. So if Jesus don't come down here and smack him in the head, then he has all authority to forgive sin or go on this and that. If you go into Revelation 6, you will see that the first horse come, it's the Antichrist. He come on a white horse wearing a crown, and he got a bow. Now, here's the representation of the Antichrist due to the fact that when you go read in Revelation, whatever that is, when it said Jesus come having many crowds on a white horse, that I already show you. Both come on a white horse, both are kings, and both stars wars. The one you say the star wars with peace.
You got that from Chick Tracks.
The one that stars war with peace is the one that comes in Revelation 6 on the white horse.
Let me ask you a question.
Not Jesus.
It says the beast that thou sawest was not and is not. How can he be was not and is not and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit if he's not an angelic being?
I just told you at the end of the day.
I answer that question.
One that come on a white horse.
So the beast. So are you telling me that? So I'm telling you that the
Revelation 6 and 2. I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and conquering. Mm-hmm. He went forth.
To sum it up, the debate talk for you audience, I'm telling y'all that the beast consists of an angelic being that councils.
No, the beast. Listen.
Hold on, bro. Let me finish. To sum it up, debate talk for you. I'm telling you that the beast consists of an angelic being, the councils, a man, which is the Antichrist, and also a system. Three things the beast consists of.
Let me say this, and I'm gonna go.
Debate talk.
Let me say this, and I'm gonna go.
Hold on, he can't explain to y'all why the beast.
Lamar, hold on, man.
LaRon, just let me say this, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna just say this, and I'm gonna go because I don't want to debate you about the matter, or I would have called you out. But I don't think you're worthy of a debate. But look, at the end of the day, the beast is the government system. That's wrong. The woman is the Roman Catholic Church. She sets on the beast, the government system. Then you have the Holy Roman Empire as it was in the past. The Holy Catholic Church sit on the Roman system. Then you have a woman sitting on the beast, and they go about in perdition. Now, the brother told you that. He showed you that in many different ways. It might not have been clear, but the woman, which is the Catholic Church, the harlot, sits on top of the government, which is the Roman Empire, and then they go into perdition. That's it. If you don't understand it or comprehend it, then just study up on it. Peace, y'all.
I appreciate the call. And LaRon will bring you back in, but we got 8 minutes on the air, guys. We have 8 minutes on the air. That means everybody that's listening via internet, after the 8 minutes is up, you're going to go to the overtime part of the show and to hear the final statements and more questions. If you want to hear the overtime part of the show, you're going to have to call in before the 8 minutes is up and dial that number, 646-716-7320. Once again, you have to dial before the time is up via internet. But if you're not going to call back in, the show is archived. So once again, check out the archives at www.blogtalkradio.com/debatetalk4you. I appreciate you guys being here, checking out Debate Talk for You. But let me go back to LaRon, and I'm going to bring in Mikha'el after that. We're going to take a few more callers, and after that, we're going to get to the final statements. Go ahead, LaRon. You can respond.
Yeah, see, what's going on, Debate Talk for You, audience, sisters and brothers, what these guys do is, these guys come here and tell you what something is, but they leave questions unanswered. Like this brother, he just came to us and just told us that what the Antichrist or what the beast is. I'm telling you that what it consists of. This brother can't answer this question. Like, he can't answer, the beast that thou sawest was. How can he was, and then is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit? He can't answer that. See what I'm saying? And he won't answer that. Nor have y'all seen any one of these brothers answer, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. So what they'll say is, oh, those hills are wrong. Well, the Bible just says 5 are fallen. If those kings is on those hills, 5 are fallen. So if those are the hills of Rome, it's telling you that 5 are fallen. But them brothers, they can't answer that, and they not going, because they're going to leave you undone, and they don't know the scriptures.
All right, Mikha'el, you can respond, brother. You can reply. You can respond. It's up to you.
Yeah, I hear you. To the brother Carl that called in, grace and peace to you, brother. You know, I feel you. You know, it sounds like you got a chip on you, but you know, it'll be okay. We all Israel. Same goal, same mission, man. Debunk lies. That's all it is to it. Oh, happy Sabbath too to all the Sabbath keepers. I told you I got on here. I had a mission. It was to expose who the whore was, who the beast was, who the little horn was. I even threw in there that there would be a temporal leader, that's a military leader that's going to rise up and click with the man of sin or the abomination of desolation, to whom y'all choose to call an Antichrist. But like the other caller said earlier, it's a lot of people that's Antichrist, so we'd be here all day. I did that. I even went to name everything. I didn't just read a scripture and then give you my opinion of what it was. I actually gave you resources to go back and verify everything that I said, so you don't think that I was making nothing up, because I don't want to leave nothing out there. I answered all his brother's questions. I even answered the one that he keep talking about, but I'm not finna act like I'm retarded and keep repeating myself. Y'all go back and check the archive. Y'all will hear every question that he asked me, I answered. Out of all the questions that I asked him, I think he may have answered 85% on the estimate, because I know he left at least 2 of them out there. But that's neither here nor there. That brother feel like people not listening to what he's saying, and I think that's the only thing me and him got in common. Sometimes the people don't hear. But all glory to the Most High God of Israel and his son, Jesus the Christ, who is my high priest, the Mashiach, They brought this forth. It ain't had nothing to do with me. And on that project you was talking about, Sal, I'll holler at you later. And thank you for inviting me on here. I thank you for reaching out and for getting this information out there to the people. And anytime, brother, anytime. And on that, I'll talk to you on a personal. I'm still working on that for you, too. And we're going to see what we can do to help this grow even more. Let more people call in with different, because I listen to it all the time. It's always educating for me. So that's all I really got to say. Grace and peace. And I just listen to the callers.
All right, well, we got this is question and answer time, guys, so this is your time. The number is 646-716-7320. Once again, we have like 4 minutes on the air, guys, 4 minutes via internet. If you want to hear the rest of the show, including the final statement, you got to call in via phone or via Skype. The number is 646-716-7320. You got to call in before the time is up if you want to hear the rest of the show. If not, the show is archived, guys, so you can just go to the website and check out the show. You can even download the show. Below the visual screen on the left-hand side, you're going to see a little link that says download once you go to this debate, where is the Antichrist. But let's go to the next person. I'm going to take maybe 3 or 4 more callers, and after that, we're going to go to the final statements, guys. So feel free to call in. Let's go to the next person. 309-232. You're live on the air.
Hey,
30.
Can you hear me? All right. Hey, what's going on, Brother Sal? How you doing? LaRon, Mikha'el, man, putting in that work in the vineyard, man. I love it, man. I want to kind of try to throw LaRon this to that question that he asked, and I'll be quick so some people can get in. You're asking about the beast that was and was not and is again. Well, the Roman Empire fell in 476. That's noted in history, right? So they're gone. But then the Holy Roman Empire rose up. Then they was. And then if you just go in your computer and Google the Treaty of Rome, you will find out that in 1957, the Roman Empire started to reestablish themselves. And right now on the earth, the Western Union is the same 10 countries that made up the Roman Empire. So they are here. So and that's all history. It's not a big mystery. And I don't want you to take my word for it, Brother LaRon, because I see that you trying to work in the vineyard. But don't be so secure in yourself. If you see how that brother Mikha'el dealing with the thing, he like, man, ain't none of this me. This all the Lord. So keep the Lord up front and know that this is work, right? So 476 A.D. Rome fell. Shortly after that, they rose up the Holy Roman Empire. So they was again, right? They was not, then they was. And then, let me get this piece of paper from my papers. I'm going to give you the date for this Treaty of Rome. 1958, they started the European Economic Community, and it is known as the Treaty of Rome. That Treaty of Rome has trickled down to 10 countries, which is the exact 10 you're looking at in Revelations and in Daniel. So no speculation on that. And I just hope that helps, you and, pushing out the truth out there, man, because like Mikha'el said, man, this ain't nothing for us to be glorified about. If we workers in the vineyard, we got to keep the Most High up front. So with that, I yield, man, and like I said, man, let's walk humble before the Most High.
I appreciate that call. LaRon, you can respond. Go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, let me dismantle that real quick, and let me show you something. He said something about 430 something AD, right? Okay, let me get this for you real quick, because John was giving this in his day, and if it was, it was, that means it couldn't have been the beast that he's talking about at 434 AD or something like that, because John wasn't even around then, and was meaning that it was past in John's day. That's why he said right here, he said, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Watch this. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. So if he's telling you 5 are fallen, that lets you know that this is past. He said, one is that was in John's day was the Roman Empire. Now watch this. He said, and the other is to come. The other is to come is revised empire, the Roman Empire with its 10 kings. Then he said, and when he cometh, watch this, when the 10 kings come, he continued for a short space. Reason why he continued for the short space, because guess what? The eighth come in. And when the eighth come in, the eighth kingdom, which is the Antichrist, he subdues the three. And once he subdues the three, then guess what? He forms as the eighth because he takes over the three. In order for him to subdue them, that means he has to control them or come over and conquer them. A king divided against himself cannot stand. So if he's with them, if he's a part of them, he wouldn't have to subdue three. Okay, now watch this. And it says, and the beast that was and is not. And it was, he was part of the ones, he part of the five that fallen. He part of one of the five that fallen. He was and is not. In other words, he's not. He's not here in John's day. Even he is. Now watch this. Even he is, watch, the eighth. He is the eighth kingdom after the seventh. Now watch this. And it says, and go and is of the seven. Well, is of what seven? He's of the seven. He's of the seven kingdoms. He's one of the seven kingdoms. He's the fifth, the Grecian angelic being to be revised from the Roman Empire. Now watch this. And when he cometh, and it says, and goeth into perdition. He is the Antichrist. He is the spirit of the angelic being that comes and revives the Grecian Empire up under the territory, up under the man Antichrist. And all of these things come up after the 10 kings, because the little horn comes after the 10 kings and subdue 3 of the 10. If he's with them, why would he subdue them? He subdues them and plucks them up because he's controlling. He's going to get control over them. And guess who it is? The Syrian king of the north, dealing with the Turkish, the Egypt, and the Grecian Empire. Turkey, Egypt, and Syria. And with that being said, that's it.
All right, we are officially inside the Lion's Den in the overtime part of the show. We're going to take maybe 2-3 more questions from the people, and after that, we're going to go to the final statements, guys. You know, definitely edifying information out there. Let's go to the people real quick. Let's see what else they got to say out here. 661-748. You're live on air.
Yeah, Mike, you didn't have to say my name, man. If you wanted to say my name and say I was disgruntled or still mad, you could have said it when I was on the line. Be a man about it. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to give the glory to the Lord and then put yourself in that personal space again. You know what I'm saying? You the one that attacked me at first. You a hater. You know what I'm saying? And then you attack me again because you're a hater. I just asked you, was you representing for the church or just the Israel of God in general, which is the people? Now, if you didn't like or appreciate the question, that's personal. That's not God business. So, you got something to say, please, before we hang it up, say on.
All right, there, Mikha'el. You can respond.
Honestly, no, I ain't got nothing to say. I love you, brother. I just don't even see why that was a question. If you want to ask that question, you could have asked the IOG. But it's cool. I see. Oh, good. Keep doing your good work, brother.
As a man, I asked you. As a man, I asked you as a man. Just like you could have spoke to me as a man about how you felt.
Okay, grace and peace, brother.
All right.
All right, let's go to the next caller. We got a Skype caller here. Let me see. I don't want to mess up nobody's name. Nishama, yeah? Oh, I messed that up. You're live on air. Skype caller, you're live on air. You hear me? Hello?
Yes, I hear. Can you hear me?
Okay, I hear you now. There you go.
It's great. It's great. You know, there's a lot to be considered here because I understand the nature of the system and the nature of the mindsets that most people have today. I mean, in fact, I see it across all the denominations. I see it across all the churches. I see it across people regardless of what they want to call themselves. This one basic premise that seems to be ignored by all, that is written in all the scripture. Think about this, number one. I asked this question, Acts 3:18-23. Says Messiah will come for the restitution, if you will, the restoration, some say remembrance of all things, the Most High has spoken by the mouth of his holy prophet since the world began. It goes on after that to finally say that whoever will not hearken to that prophet, that one who comes to teach those things, not hearken then to his, not just his prophet, but his testimony, his prophecy, should be cut off from among the people. Okay, now we need to ask the question, what manner of ideology, system, or whatever you want to call it, has predisposed the people to desire not to hear one who would reveal a greater light. I asked another question. Matthew 24, look around about, say, around the 12th, really out to about the 20th verse and a little bit beyond. The prophecies talk about what happened in 70 AD when Rome came in and destroyed Jerusalem. Most don't want to realize it, but what happened immediately after that, there was 3 centuries of serious, murderous persecution. Scripture says after that, it didn't say Messiah would come. It said there would be a rise of false prophets. That means a lot of false testimony at the hand of what is actually a false church. That scripture talking about a system having, or let's just say a false Christianity, or you want to call it a false Christianity, but how about an anti-Messiah? Because the word Christ is a Greco-Roman word. It's not Hebrew. How about the idea about this system having horns like a lamb, speaks to the dragon, claims to be a Messiah, claims to be a Savior, claims to be of the Savior, but is not. And that is from those first 3 centuries of murderous persecutions against those who believe. Okay, after that is a false system. Most who call themselves believers and most who call themselves pastors refuse to accept the idea that when they murdered those of the early church who knew the truth, and the scripture says they would be killed, if you look at Revelation 6, it means what you have thereafter is an insecure, unstable, partial, and perverse testimony ever since. The question is this: when Messiah returns to bring to remembrance all things spoken by the prophets since the world began, and I don't mean just the words, I mean the right implication and understanding that's the initial ideal. The question is, who will be willing to receive that testimony? Because whoever will not is very definitely an anti-Messiah. Now, this word Christ you were talking about, it needs to be dealt with. That's not a Hebrew word. The word Christ, look up the word Charites, look up a Wikipedia somewhere, look up Charites. Find out what this word Christ and how it parallels this concept of a charis or Charites in the Greco-Roman mind, what it meant. It related to someone who, let's just say, would capitulate to and compromise after all the various ideals of the kings and a convoluted people. It's definitely not a Messiah nor a Savior. So when you start talking about this concept they had of a Christ and what it meant to the polytheist minds, you are definitely talking about someone anti the absolution, the purity and completion offers the one choice that will grant it finally a peace and a holy covenant. So when you talk about this word Antichrist in itself, because let's be real about it, to the Romans, to the Greco-Romans, they called a Savior whoever would preserve the multitude of their lives. So when you talk about Antichrist, wow, let's be for real about this. You talk about Antichrist, you looked at it from the concept of what it meant to the ancient mind, and believe me, the people of the East would never have accepted that title. You're talking about an Antichrist, you are actually talking about somebody who would actually save you from a polytheist concept as that word Christ, Charites, Christos meant in a polytheist mind.
All right, brothers. It's kind of being long-winded, my brother, but I appreciate that knowledge you're putting out there. We got more callers out here, though. Anybody want to respond? Let's go to Mikha'el. Anybody want to respond to that? Mikha'el, you want to respond? You want to say anything?
Yeah, I'll just keep this real brief. This debate wasn't on linguistics. It wasn't on linguistics. It was not on the origin of words. I'll just get this, brother. There's Psalms 19, verse 3. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. And actually, I could actually get in a whole bunch of more, but we ain't going to do that. You can go to read Malachi for yourself and a few other spots. But I think I understand what he's trying to say. But, yeah, that debate for another time, because that's why, if you notice throughout the whole show, I call him what? Sal and LaRon heard me. I said the abomination of desolation. So I guess he wasn't even sending that question to me. So, LaRon, you can answer it if you want to.
Well, my main thing on it is whether you want to say Antichrist or whatever you want to say, Hebrew or however you want to put it. The Bible say the Lord was speaking to these people with other tongues. So, hey, whether I speak in English or whatever you want to put it, you know, you understand it and you get the big picture of it. That's all I got to say.
All right, we're going to take probably 2 more, and after that we're going to go to the final statements, guys. We got to get to these final statements. Once again, it's Debate Talk for You. You know that number, 646-716-7320. Let's go to the next person. Let's see, 312-469. You're live on air.
What's going on again? This is Brother Isaac K. Fingers. and I'm very glad y'all came to me. The reason, because like y'all just said, the Lord said that in Isaiah 28, he speaks to his people in another tongue. This whole debate wasn't about the word. Brother Mikha'el, he talks about the abomination of desolation. But I'm going to read what it really is. Go to Revelation 19 and read verse 19. And I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet. That's what this should really be titled. That's just my opinion. But if you keep reading, that wrought miracles before him, was he that deceived them that received the mark of the beast and them that worshipped his image. These both were alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. Period. That's what this whole thing should be about, the false prophet. And as it has been stated, the abomination of desolation that Jesus talked about, they go back to Daniel. Daniel gave us the whole map of who the false prophet was going to be, where he was coming from, and here it is at the end, where him and the beast will be going to in the end. Peace and grace in Jesus' name, y'all.
Grace and peace, bro.
Appreciate your call. You can reply again, Mikha'el. Go ahead.
Grace and peace, brother. I agree.
LaRon?
Yeah, basically, I have something to say. Matthew 20 and 20 and 15. It says, "When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel." So this was spoken of by Daniel, the prophet, and stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. And most people think this is dealing with the abomination. They think this is dealing with the time of Titus, or when he came in and during the time of 70 A.D., but this is not really dealing with that. This is dealing with the abomination of desolation. It should be set up by the Antichrist with the false prophet in his image, and this is dealing with when he's take away the daily sacrifices, which is mentioned in Daniel. So.
All right, my brother. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring the reader in here. Yeah, the reader been kind of quiet, man. Philip, you got any questions for the brothers? Anything you want to say, I am? I've been on standby for a long time, brother. You have a question for the brother, you can put it out there, or you want to make a comment. Go ahead, man.
Well, I guess at this time, I'll just wait a little while. A lot of the scriptures that was brought forth and that was broken down, LaRon is definitely just very, very confused. I don't even know where to begin. Mikha'el did a good job. I'm going to go ahead and just let you all. I will have some final statements, but I don't know where to begin when it comes to some of the stuff that he's presenting, because I'm here on the internet now the whole time, going over, with the scriptures and also the different sources. I'm trying to find where's his sources at. I need, LaRon, matter of fact, I'll tell you what, I do have a quick question. Can you list where are you getting any of your sources from?
Okay, when you get a chance to, I want you to go on YouTube or Google it, and Google it the Arab Antichrist, and or Google it under YouTube. And it's a brother that's on there, and he was an Arab. He was a terrorist, and he came from being I'm not sure his name, but there's plenty of references on there. And when you look at it, they're going to break it down like 10-minute videos, or even outside of videos. They're going to show you who the Antichrist is, and going to show you where he's coming from, and they also going to pull up listing the Turkish and also the different guys speaking. And the Arab that's on there that's speaking of these things, he used to be a terrorist, and he's been talking to Israel. He's been talking to a lot of people. He's been telling them about Arabia and Iran with the nuclear bomb situation going on. And he's also been talking about the tricontinental war that's going to take place. because when he said the 10 kingdoms is formed, they're not actually formed yet, because you have an area that's in Russia that has not been formed yet, and they have not controlled it yet. So they have to get control of it, because the empire listed to Russia. So when you just Google in the Arab Antichrist or Islamic Antichrist, and go to YouTube, and I don't know if you're in my group or not, but I can listen in my group, and when you listen to the guy, he takes like about 30 minutes, or it's another dude like 10 minutes, and he's going to begin to expound on Daniel, and he's going to expound on chapter 8 and 9, and it's going to show you specifically. And when you look at it, you're going to relate it to the scriptures, because he's going to give you the scriptures behind it. And I'm telling you, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I see, and it's going to agree with what's going on in the government, what's going on in the government right now, and everything. And also, too, have you guys ever seen that movie, The Kingdom? You ever seen that movie, The Kingdom? With Jamie Foxx? There's a movie out there, it's called The Kingdom, with Jamie Foxx in it. And The Kingdom is a good movie, because one thing it says that those that hold the oil holds the world in hostage. If you think that the 10 kingdoms or you think that the NATO and them running something, or they running anything, y'all better look and see with China and Russia and who they backing and who they financing, and it's the Arabs.
All right, guys, we about to go into this final statement, guys. Hold on. I see we got one more question. Hold on. Let me just sneak in one more question real quick. Just sneak in another question before we get to the final statements. 917-657. You're live on air.
Peace, Brother Sal. This is Brother Imam Bashir, Lions of the Law, the building.
Hey, going on, my brother?
You know, I'm maintaining. I've been listening to the program. Oh, who is the brother that was just speaking and talking about the movie The Kingdom?
That's LaRon, Brother LaRon.
Oh, yeah, it's LaRon.
Oh, yeah, Brother LaRon. I'm sorry.
Death to Islam. That's what it is.
Right. And, you know, you could say that doesn't bother me. But what I will say is if your scholarship and intellect going to be based on movies and some so-called Arab guy on YouTube, then, brother, you got a problem. I mean, it's a lot of things. I'm trying to, when I'm listening to people, I always try to give them the benefit of doubt as to those source references. And I'm like, how could you even give a brother that's asking you for references a YouTube reference of some Arab guy up there is supposed to be breaking it down in a Jamie Foxx movie, The Kingdom? Well, I think that, you know, go home, brush yourself off, get into some real research, brother, because you got to back up what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? And you haven't done that tonight, so I'm out of here, man. I'll be looking for the brother on the May 2nd. We be in the building. Peace.
All right, that was Imam Bashir. He's going to be back here May 2nd, and that debate is actually entitled, Did Jesus Die on the Cross, guys? So make sure you look out for that one. But LaRon, I know you want to respond, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically, Bashir, man, you know, when he talk about scholarship, that's something that he don't really want to see me in, because, you know, many a times I have shut down brothers who you can't even really shut down, which is the Amara squad, which is another squad that they don't want to see me, you know, when I get on their show, you know, when it's dealing with scholarship. They know what it is, you know what I'm saying? So when you want to deal with the brothers from the East, or when you want to deal with real Arabs, you know what I'm saying, did a bomb something and kill something, you know what I'm saying, then you know, just holler at me when it comes to scholarship, because this right here is I'm proving to them from the Bible, you know what I'm saying? Anybody can speculate with what they see or what they say, but to say that the Turks and them are not Arabs, that's kind of foolishness, even to say if they was converted or not, when you know that they moved in them areas and also mingle with them women. So to say that those you know, what you're saying is no scholarship, but I know real people that's Arabs. I know a dude that say that he's a descendant of Esau and he's an Arab. So, you know, when it comes to that scholarship or whatever, you know, I can get on that, you know, real easy. But for the sake of time, you know, I'm dealing with this and dealing with the Bible and what's in the script and what's in the text. So, if you know what it is, if you really want it, you know, like I say, it's death to Islam. You're going to get it by the Gorilla Hebrew.
Yo, man, That was funny. My mic on?
Yeah, you on, brother. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can say something? Yeah.
I
mean, it's all good, but I just wanted to tell the brother, brother, it's Imam Bashir. I don't even know you, so if you call me Bashir, you got to be my buddy, my friend, or something. So, that was a little rude, but I'm going to let you slide with that, all right? I'm cool. But May 2nd, Jesus ain't die on the cross. I'm going to prove it and show it. Then y'all going to have to come back to Islam. You and the Gorilla Hebrew. All right? So we're going to bring Israel back to Islam, man. Yo, hey.
I got you,
so
bro.
Real talk. Before I go real quick, Brother Sal, I really love what you did, brother. I mean, hats off to you. These are good programs you having, bringing information to the people. In my opinion, it's even better than the debates that we have at the House of Consciousness. It really is, brother, because, at the very least, we're dealing with people that understand that there is an outside force outside of ourselves that is the ultimate creator, the Most High. So that's what I love about having these discussions with, the Quran says the Ahlul Kitab, the people of the book. So, Brother Sal, hats off to you, brother, and thank you for this program.
Yeah, I appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate that, man. Definitely, put the information out there to the masses. And it's all about edification and people down taking down notes. All right, guys, we got, I wish I could get to everybody. We got more people standing by, but I got to get to the final statements. I have to get to the final statements, guys. So once again, the show is archived. If you missed any part of the show, go to the website, www.blogtalkradio.com/debatetalk4you. This is final statement time, guys. We're going to go to Mikha'el. It's going to be 7 minutes for his final statements. Let me open up his phone line. Let me set up the timer, and Mikha'el, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I don't even know if it may not even take me 7 minutes, but I'd just like to say, if you listen to the show, I hope that I did my part and my small part in this huge world to edify people and help do my little part on pulling the wool off the eyes of the masses, because it is an agenda out here, man. I mean, we got so many agendas going on. One of the agendas are to hide who the children of God are, which is us. And I'm not one of those Israelites who believe that it's specifically for us. That's for the Commonwealth too. That's I don't care if you're Chinese or you German. If you accept the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, then you family with me. And I also want to say, go back, check the archive. If you find out that it is something that you want to question me about that I stated, you know how to reach me. Mikha'el Ben Yisrael on Facebook. My email is Mike Ward 32212, and you can hit me up there. Also, I'll be coming out with some more Hebrews in the Hood YouTube videos. I had put a little delay on them because it was more important matters going on. But I know from the little teas I put out there, people like them, so I'll be back on there. And again, man, honestly, all I got to say is, without a shadow of a doubt, that the great horse spoken of in the scriptures is the Roman Catholic Church. Every church that spawned from her, whether you know you Roman Catholic or not, you are according to your doctrine. That's all her daughters and denominations that came out of her. And I also want to put out there that this thing is really deeper than a religious war and religion. They put it off on TV to the masses to how you thinking, well, of course Islam, Christianity had their battles throughout the centuries. But what you never looked at was the agreements that was set up behind the scenes. Well, a lot of times when those spats happen, it was because somebody breached the contract. You see what I'm saying? So the fact of the matter is, they all had business dealings with each other, and they fighting over a land that's neither one of theirs. That's our land, the true Israelites who are in captivity, scattered amongst the whole eastern and western hemisphere. That's the 12 tribes of Israel. The Most High is gathering us back, and we back to do our job, and that's shine light unto the world through the Most High God and His Son, Jesus the Christ, the High Priest, soon to be the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the whole thing, the Mashiach. And with that being said, I'd like to say peace and love to you, Brother Sal. I love you. I will continue to be a regular. We'll be doing more business together. You know what I'm saying? Business meaning as far as bringing the truth out here to the starving. the deaf, the blind, and the dumb. And basically, that's all I got to say, man. Grace and peace, shalom, shalom, in Jesus Christ's name, and Mashiach.
Shalom, brother. Brother Phil, man, you can say something, brother, if you want to, man. It's your time, brother. To add something to that. Go ahead.
Okay. Grace and peace to everybody. Happy Sabbath to all the Sabbath keepers. And just to, LaRon, I'm up here right now looking at your YouTube stuff, and maybe I'll actually be a little bit more specific because still can't find it. But anyhow, also for the people that's still on the phone listening, it's not in the archives, but you'll see when it comes to the Persian, who the Persian people is, if you do the history of them, you actually will see that is in the Nebuchadnezzar's time talking about they actually are the current modern-day Russians. Okay, so don't be confused and think that they have what Brother LaRon has pointed out. They're not the Arabs or anything dealing with them. They actually are the modern-day Russians. Do your research, do your history, you'll see. These are the Gentiles. But anyhow, great debate. Thank you, Sal, for having me. Praise God for this forum. That we are getting the word out to the masses. I know that we, disagree on different subject matters, but the focus is we decrease and He increase. Just as His word says, in John 3:30. So hey, we all praise to the Most High Jesus. Let's just focus on that. Let's just stay focused on giving Him the glory. Get out of our own flesh and out of our own mind, out of our own heart. Focus on pleasing God. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. That's what we're here for. Grace and peace, everybody. Love you all, and may God bless. In Jesus' name.
I appreciate you coming on and being a reader. On Debate Talk for You, letting your voice be heard as well. Definitely appreciate you, Mikha'el, and we definitely going to get you back in the Lions then in the future, my brother. Appreciate that. All right, so we're going to go to LaRon right now. Once again, this is the final statement time. This is final statement time, guys, and the show is archived. So once again, if you missed any part of the show, check out the archives. And, of course, next Friday we have another debate lined up, you guys, and the Friday after that, So keep it locked on Debate Talk for You. Make sure you sign up at Blog Talk Radio and click the follow button when you see Debate Talk for You. Click the follow button. That'll keep you more relevant what's happening with the show. So let's go to LaRon right now with his final statements. I'm going to open up his phone line, and you go ahead, brother.
Yeah. And basically, like I say, Sal, everybody in the audience, I expected, for everybody to call in and not really understand. The majority of people that called in, 3 of them at least, it wasn't too many callers, but 3 of them that called in was Muslims, from 215 to James to one of the other brothers, I forgot what his name is, and then Bashir, Imam Bashir. And so he called in. So I expected that. And then you got also, basically people that are from didn't know Mikha'el. So that's nothing to me. That don't mean nothing to me, just because people don't want to understand it. And one of the brothers, Asal, whatever his name is, he said something about my references being YouTube or whatever. Well, if you watch, half of these guys, they watch YouTube. So don't let them fool you. I'll be a lie to say that I don't. These guys foolish for lying and saying they don't. But they and I know that when you're watching these videos make reference and also give you information of the reference that's put out. So they are useful and they are needy. And for somebody to say that they don't watch YouTube, this is not really getting real with themselves, because you collect information from all sorts of places, whether it's YouTube, Wikipedia, or whatever you want to go for whatever book or whatever you want to go for, you get that information. Anyway, so I posted some of the videos or some of the things that's in there, and it gets into the text, basically from word, letting you guys know what's going on. So if the Bible say those that are wise increase in knowledge. So if that's something that you want to do, increasing that, or want to see what's going on before you object to something, then I suggest that you guys get off into those things. And then once they also mention the world affairs with testimonies of these people. And one thing that I have realized among the black community, especially among African Americans, is that one of the things that whether they want to call themselves African or whatever, where among black Americans is when it comes to the Black Power movement, and that's what's going on. Whether or not people like it is in the body of Christ, those that say they are in the body of Christ, or those that say they are Israel, is to make the Caucasians or any other people to be a radical people. When we know that it was people before them that was also radical, but we're moving through the times to where the Gentiles or the Caucasians are the last to be here before the Antichrist comes to be in rule. So we know that the enemy will greatly move through them, as he has greatly moved through those that were in the past that caused the people to fall. Christ, he basically deals with things from the root, and the root of these things came from the mystery Babylon religion, which also came from Satan himself. So like I said, I thank you, Sal, for having me on. Mikha'el, I appreciate you from coming on, man, and bringing forth what you thought to be or whatever. But a lot of this ideology that he gets or that they get comes from IOG or these different Black Panther camps, because that's basically what they are, Black Panther camps, and Black Power movement camps. They no different from the Egyptologists or the Comedics that come with like Amun-Ra Squad, or these guys that come with the Kemetic views, which is Afrocentrism, or it's no different. It's all the same movement. Where I stand at in my position is there is no Jew nor Greek in Christ Jesus. You know what I'm saying? But those, whether you a Jew or whoever you claim yourself to be, if you ain't walking upright, you know what I'm saying, or going forth and doing His commandments, you still gonna be dealt with regardless. To the Jew first, they can get it first. So with that being said, I'm not out here claiming to be no Hebrew Israelite or none of that, because I don't know that. I was once affiliated with the Blood Gang, and I got put on to be in the Blood Gang. I didn't claim that because I just claimed it for something to do, but I actually got put in that. So we have people that's actually claiming something, and they say by speculation. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I don't have no agenda but to give the people the proof. I don't have nothing to hide behind, or saying that I'm some type of people, or my identity is in Christ, and that's all I have to give to the people is to hide behind Him and let Him bring forth the truth. A lot of these guys, they have agenda, and because they have agenda, they have to make themselves be some person or be something in order for them to fulfill prophecy. Prophecy. But we know, and I know, that a lot of the Americans, the blacks in America, they are not fulfilling the prophecy when it comes to the latter day prophecy of them being a nation and also building a temple, which is going to be built, and those that's going to be worship therein will be Jews. So to say that there is no Caucasian Jews, or to say that there is no Caucasian Arabs, that's foolish. When we know how that these two people was dispersed, Israel was dispersed, and we know how the Arabs have went and conquered all the lands, ravaged and raped, or whatever you want to call it. We know they have done those things. So with that being said, to say that they didn't put seed out there and cause descendants in another land, that's foolishness, and well as convert also. So, with that being said, a good show, and like I say, I hope people are edified by the certain things I'm going to post, the certain things that was in the show, and with that, I yield.
Brand disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed on this platform by individuals, callers, or invited guests are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with this brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
Welcome to the planets of debates. Debate Talk for You Radio.